אני באר שבע.
יושב עם באר שבעים, בארוחת יום שישי, מרוקאית. אוקיי? אני יושב בארוחות מרוקאיות בטבריה, שם המשפחה הטבריאנית המאמצת שלי, בטבריה. אז אני הייתי בהרבה כאלה, ואחי, זה אחד הדברים היותר מדהימים שיש בעולם. גם אם ואתה יודע, המרוקאים הם יותר דתיים מאצלי, גם כשהם לא דתיים. זאת אומרת, נגיד, החבר שלי אושר הוא לא דתי, אבל יש לו כמוך כבוד לדת שהוא לא מאמין בה, או שהוא לא עוקב אחריה, אבל אבא שלו דתי. כאילו, דתי מרוקאי, לא דתי אורתודוקס, אתה יודע. כאילו, כזה. בכל מקרה, זה פי אלף לגר, מאשר ארוחה יידישאית, מנוכרת, כאילו, שאתה לא מבין את המילים, אתה לא מבין את הזה, אתה לא מבין כלום מה שקורה שם, זה לא מה שאתה חושב שזה. אתה מבין, המנגינות.
גיא, אתה מנסה כאילו לספר לי...
אני אומר לך בתור מישהו שלא ידע על זה כלום, ופתאום גילה את העולם הזה, גילה את החבר'ה האלה, ואני אוהב אותם.
תקשיב, אנחנו באים קודם כל מנקודות מוצא שונות. לך, וזה מאוד בולט בדרך שאתה מתבטא ומתנסח, יש לך בוז לדבר הזה שנקרא דת ותורה.
אין לי בכלל, אחי, אין לי.
אוקיי, אבל ככה זה נשמע, אתה יכול להגיד, אין לי, אבל ככה נשמע שיש לך בוז ויש לך חוסר כבוד. אני בא ממקום אחר.
אין לי.
יכול להיות שאני,
אני אגיד לך מה, הבוז היחידי.
יכול להיות שאני
שימי, אתה שופט אותי לא נכון. החבר הכי טוב שלי בעולם, תקשיב, שימי, אתה יודע מי זה גילי שושן?
לא.
שיחק בהפוך. אתה אומר שאתה יחסית מבוגר, אתה מכיר את זה?
אתה נקטעת, לא שמעתי?
אתה מכיר את הסדרה, הפוך.
אתה מקוטע. You are glitching.
Am I?
I'm the only one that...
כי אין לי את הסימן האדום.
אוקיי, try again.
אתה מכיר את הסדרה הפוך?
לא.
אז תעשה בגוגל, גילי שושן הפוך. אתה תראה, זה החבר הכי טוב שלי בעולם. אנחנו מדברים פעם בחודש, הוא בצפת, אני בלוס אנג'לס, הוא חבדניק, אני חילוני חרד, יש לי כלום חוץ מהאהבה אליו ולשבעת ילדיו, אחי, ולאשתו הדוסה. אל תבין אותי לא נכון. אני לומד תורה עם אורתודוקסים, אני אוהב את הספר שלי, אני אוהב את החוכמה של העם שלי, אין לי שום בוז. הדבר היחידי שאני נלחם בו הוא כפייה על החיים שלי. כמו שאתה אומר, שיעשו בתוך הבית שלהם כל מה שהם רוצים, שימי. הכל, שישימו תרנגולות, שלא ישימו תרנגולות, נפלא. שלא ייכנסו אליי ויגידו לי מה לעשות. זה מה שאני נלחם בו. אין לי שום בוז לדרך שבה הם חיים את החיים שלהם. אתה מבין את ההבדל?
אני מבין את ההבדל, ושוב, אני אומר, בוא נחזור לנקודת המוצא. קודם כל כן צריכים להיות איזה שהם מינימום של גבולות, ואני כן מסכים איתך, שהמדינה צריכה להיות חלק מהדבר הזה, בשביל שחס וחלילה לא נהפוך למדינת הלכה. שזה אני חושב ששתינו מסכימים על זה. אבל מעבר לזה, אני אומר, עזוב אותי, הצביעות, כל המטאפורות שהשתמשת, או הדימויים, וכל האינטרסים או הסיבות של אנשים שמנסים להיכנס לדת. לא מעניין אותי.
זה לא הסיבות, הציניות היא בזה שהם אומרים, אנחנו נהיה דתיים אחרי שנגמור את הגיור. זה הציניות היחידה.
די, you made your point. אני אומר משהו פשוט. בואו, תעשו את התהליך האורתודוקסי, ואחר כך תעשו מה שאתם רוצים. מה הבעיה? למה ללכת עם הפאקינג ראש בקיר? למה לבוא להגיד, אני אחליט, אני אמציא לעצמי?
כי זה דורש לשקר לרב. אתה מבקש מהם לשקר לרב.
אבל זה ציני מה שאתה אומר. אתה הרי משקר לרב גם אם הוא רפורמי וגם אם הוא אורתודוקסי, וגם אם הוא קונסרבטיבי. הרי בשביל לרצות להיכנס ליהדות, אתה רוצה להיות יהודי. זה הדבר הבסיסי ביותר, זה הרכיב הבסיסי יותר במשוואה הזאת, זה הפרמטר המרכזי, נכון?
אבל שימי, מה זה יהודי? יהודי בעיניך זה דת? כמו נצרות וכמו אסלאם? או יהדות זה...
חלק מלהיות... אתה יודע מה זה להיות יהודי? כלומר, מה זה בעיניך? זה כאילו, הטייטל הזה להיות יהודי, זהו, זה רק כתוב להיות יהודי, ובזה זה יסתיים? אין צורך...
לא, זה מה אחי, לילד שלי נתתי שם יהודי. אנוש זוהר פרנקל. זה לא התעודת זהות שלי. זה מי אני? זה מי אני? אני בן של יעקב. שמעת על יעקב באיזשהו שלב שינו לו את השם לישראל? זה מי אני. יש עם ישראל חי. אתה מכיר אותו?
אוקיי.
זה אני, אחי. זה לא קשור לתעודות זהות, זה לא קשור לפספורטים, זה קשור למי
אבל זה כן
מי
קשור
אני, אחי.
למסורת, אבל זה כן קשור למסורת, וזה כן קשור לדם, וזה כן קשור לשייכות. זה המרכיבים המרכזיים שמרכיבים אותך, כמי שאתה.
נכון, אבל אני אומר, אז אני אומר, אתה לא
בעצמך
יהודי
אמרת,
לבד.
נתת לילד שלך את השם אנוש. אתה הרי לא הפלצת את השם הזה מהאוויר. אתה לקחת את זה מתוך התרבות שלך.
זאת הנקודה. אבל זה לא מתוך הדת. אתה צריך להפריד בין התרבות לבין הדת.
אתה לא יכול לעשות, זה אתה טועה, הדת היא חלק,
אז תקשיב, אל תשאל אותי.
שלך.
אני אומר, אתה גר במדינת ישראל, הקים אותה בחור נקרא בן גוריון. תקרא מה הוא כתב על הנושאים האלה. הוא אמר, תקשיבו. ואני מרגיש אותו דבר כמו בן גוריון, כן? אבא שלי עבד בשביל בן גוריון הרבה שנים. אני גדלתי עם הספרייה המלאה של כתביו בבית שלי, וקראתי אותם. הוא אמר ככה, הספר שנקרא התנ"ך, זה הספר הכי חשוב לעם היהודי. אני לא חושב שמשה קיבל אותו מאלוהים בסיני, אני לא חושב שזה דבר אלוהים. אין שום קשר בין האמונה הזאת לבין החשיבות של הספר לעם. אתה מבין מה אני אומר? זאת אומרת, חלק מאיתנו, אתה יכול לקרוא את הספר. לא so what. רגע, לא so what. אמר והקים ככה את המדינה.
קודם כל, עם כל הכבוד לבן גוריון, הוא לא היחיד שהקים אותה.
לא, זה כולם. אני אומר בן גוריון, אני מתכוון הציונות, שימי, הציונות.
אגב, הוא, ואלה שבאו אחריו, עשו כל כך הרבה טעויות בהקמת המדינה, שעד היום אנחנו משלמים את המחירים. חלקם היו לא כאלה מבריקים גדולים, והם עשו לא פחות טעויות מכל בן אדם אנושי אחר. So fucking what, הוא אמר. אבל אם אתה מסתכל על המדינה, כל הסימבוליקה של המדינה הזאת נלקחה מהתורה, ממנורה, ממגן דוד, מהכל, מההמנון, מהכל, נשען על המסורת ועל הדת. מה זה השטויות האלה? הרי לא לך שום הצדקה להיות בו בלי זה, וגם בן גוריון הבין את זה. אז בן גוריון דיבר שטויות, ומשה, שכחתי את השם שלו, והרבה מנהיגים גדולים אחריו עשו מלא שטויות ודיברו גם הרבה שטויות. So fucking what? אז הוא אמר.
אני אומר, שימי, זה לא רק הוא אמר, א', בוא טיפה כבוד, כן? כי אחרי 2000 שנות גלות, אנחנו בבית, וזה בכל זאת משהו. כאילו, לא יודע, אם אתה נקי מטעויות, אני עושה הרבה דברים בחיים שלי.
גם אני עושה הרבה טעויות.
בכל אחד מהם יש טעות, אחי. אין דבר אחד שעשיתי, גם הדברים הכי טובים שעשיתי, יש בהם פגמים, לצערי. אז בחייאת, כאילו, טיפה מידה של חסד, כן? א', ב', אני לא מתכוון בן גוריון הבן אדם. אני מדבר על התנועה הציונית מהרצל עד בן גוריון, והכנסת, הממשלות שהתפסות הרשמית.
אבל גיא, נשמה, כל המדינה בנויה על סימבוליקה של מסורת ודת יהודית.
נו, בוודאי.
מה אתה מדבר?
אבל מה זה אומר? אנחנו...
לא באמת על מסורת, אבל שימי,
לא, אבל זה קצת כמו קריסמס.
מדינה חילונית, כאילו, מי שבנה אותה, הם היו חילונים, ולכן, כאילו, הם קבעו את החוקים, כאילו, מי זה יהודי, לפי זה, לא לפי הדת.
את יודעת שזה האבסורדו שהאנשים האלה, בדיוק הגיעו מהמדינות שאתם או נמצאים בהם, או שאתם הגעתם מהם. מדינות שאיבדו כמעט את הזיקה, שתנופת ההשכלה השתלטה עליהם, איבדו כמעט את הזהות שלהם לחלוטין. זה העצוב בכל הסיפור הזה.
מיקי, שימי, אתה מתבלבל, האנשים האלה הקימו את הזהות, הם המציאו אותך.
לא, אתה ממש טועה. אני הייתי, וסבא שלי היה לנו שושלת של רבנים במשפחה, הם לא המציאו את הזהות היהודית שלי.
בוא אני אסביר לך למה אני מתכוון. שימי, בוא אני אסביר לך למה אני מתכוון. אתה היה לך שושלת של רבנים, אבל אתה לא רב.
נכון.
אתה ישראלי.
נכון.
אני שומע אותך, אחי, אני יכול לדמיין אותך. אתה לא דומה לסבא שלך, אתה לא דומה לסבא רבא שלך, אתה דומה לי פי 1000 מאשר אתה דומה לסבא רבא שלך.
יכול להיות.
אנחנו תוצר היהודי החדש הזה שהם ניסו להמציא עם הבלורית, השזוף, החזק, החסון. מכיר את הישראלי?
כן, כן, מכיר את
אתה מכיר את הישראלי? זה לא פולני. זה לא פולני, זה לא מרוקאי, אחי. זה ישראלי. הוא יכול להיות אתיופי, אבל הוא ישראלי.
לא, אפשר להתווכח על זה, זה כל מיני...
זה משהו חדש שהתנועה הציונית המציאה. יכולנו להיות יהודים מסוג אחר בארץ.
נכון, אבל היא לקחה את זה ממקורות זרים, וכמו שאמרתי לך, כמו שחיה בצייה...
אבל זה אתה, זה מה שאני אומר. אתה אומר לי, זה לא אני, זה אולי אתה. זה אני ואתה, אותו דבר.
אני מסכים חלק מזה, אתה צודק, חלק מזה נדבק, נכון, אבל בגלל זה אני נעמד על הרגליים האחוריות שלי, ואני אומר, יש גבול לכל תעלול. להיכנס ליהדות זה יהיה רק באורתודוקסיה, שום דבר אחר אני לא מוכן לשמוע. יש גבול לכל תעלול.
בסדר, אני אומר, אבל מדינת ישראל אומרת, זה התעלול שאנחנו אוהבים.
אוקיי. אז המדינה, כמו שאנחנו מבינים כרגע, יכולה רק לנבוח, כי מי שפה בענייני דת הוא בעל הבית, זה הרבנות וטוב שכך.
שימי, הם נותנים להם להיכנס ונותנים להם אזרחות.
לא, אין בעיה, אבל עובדה, ואני אומר את זה בכאב, ולא בלעק חס ושלום, אני אומר את זה בכאב, שחיה עברה תהליך לא נעים, בגלל הקונפליקט הזה.
תגיד, אתה נשוי?
לא.
אתה מתכוון להתחתן יום אחד?
אולי, בעזרת השם.
לא יודע אם זה רלוונטי, אני אתחיל את המשפט אחרת. אצלי במשפחה הישראלית, מבין 4 אחיות, 2 התחתנו עם רב. 2 התחתנו, אחד, אבא שלי, אתה יודע מי חיתן את אבא שלי? יאיר לפיד.
תקשיב, אתה חתיכת פאקינג סלב, צריך לבקש ממך חתימה.
יאיר לפיד חיתן את אבא שלי עם אשתו השנייה. סיפור אמיתי, הוא היה שדרן, לא יודע מה הוא היה.
תקשיב, אתה מיוחס ברמות אחרות.
אחי, הנקודה היא שאתה חושב שאיכשהו הרבנות שולטת בחיים של התל אביבים או משהו, אין להם ריבונות עלינו. אנחנו מתחתנים איך שבא לנו, אנחנו עושים ילדים איך שבא לנו, אנחנו ישראלים, אנחנו יהודים. It's not up to them. אם הממשלה תבוא יום אחד ותגיד...
לגמרי, הבת שלי יצאה 3 שנים עם בחור צרפתי, שברבנות לא הכירו באמא שלו, כי עברה גיור רפורמי, ולא הכירו פה בתור יהודייה. ואתה חושב שזה עניין אותי, שהבת שלי לא תתחתן ברבנות? אמרתי לה, אז בסדר, אז ניסע ליוון, או מאיזה מקום בעולם.
יאיר לפיד יחתן אותה.
אבל אתם יודעים, מה שמוזר בטיעון שלכם, שכן, רציתם בהתחלה להתחתן בצורה אורתודוקסית, כאילו, כן היה בו איזה פה משהו שהיה חשוב לכם.
לא, האחיות שלי התחתנו עם ישראלים יהודים, אחי.
אוקיי.
לא, איזה שטויות, מה, לא היה שום כלום. אחד מהם טרנסיסט, לא סובל רבנים, הגיע עם ברמודה מכנסיים 3/4 כאלה, שרו על החתונה. לא רצה רב. והשניים גם לא.
אבל אתה מבין מה קורה במדינה. לצבא הם גייסו אותו, את החבר של הבת שלי.
כן, כן.
אבל את הרבנות לא רוצה להכיר בו יהודי. אמרתי לה, מי בכלל מעניין אותו מהרבנות? אני נחתן אותך ביוון. מה צריך את הרבנות?
יש 2 אופציות. או שזה ישתנה, והמדינה תיקח מהרבנות את הכוח הזה של הנישואים. או שנהפוך להיות מדינת הלכה. זה תלוי דמוגרפית, לאן אנחנו הולכים.
אני חושב שתמיד
אפשר... מי הולך על ההלכה?
מה זה?
אתה הולך על ההלכה.
לא, חס וחלילה, אני לא הולך על ההלכה.
אני מכיר כל כך הרבה
מהחברים שלי. הדבר היחיד שאני יכול להסכים עם גיא, שאני לא רוצה מדינת הלכה. אבל אני בשום אופן לא הייתי רוצה לחיות במדינה כמו שאתם מציעים. לדעתי זה לא פחות נורא.
אבל אתה חי במדינה הזאת, זה מה שאני אומר.
זה מה שאני אומר.
מה אתה מדבר? אתה חי במדינה שרובה היום כבר לא יהודים. אני אגיד לך למה. העלייה הרוסית, יש לי ידיד רוסי, הוא בעצמו אמר לי, אני לא יהודי. והעלו אותנו את כל המשפחה, והעלו אותנו בגלל שמצאנו איזה משהו לפני, לא יודעת מה, משהו ובגלל איזה סבתא.
אז אני אענה לך על זה, זה מאוד פשוט, פרם, כמו שאני אמרתי לגיא, האנשים האלה עוברים תהליך, סבבה, הם, כמו שאת אומרת, הם לא יהודים, אבל ברגע שהבת התחתן, או הבן התחתן עם יהודייה, הדברים האלה השתנו.
איך הם
אבל אני
התחתנו?
גם לא יודע מה זה כל כך משנה לך פרם, כי את בכלל כאילו לא מכירה ולא מעניינת לך היהדות, אז כאילו, למה זה רלוונטי בכלל?
לא, לי זה לא רלוונטי, זה נכון, זה לא מעניין אותי עם
סתם
הבת שלי.
לתחום כאוויר. בקיצור, מה אני אגיד לכם? אני באמת מקווה אני אמרתי, אני כן יכול לבוא לקראת, כאילו בתפיסה, כאילו אני מדבר בשם עצמי, אני חושב שלפי מה שחיה סיפרה ושיתפה, אני כן הייתי רוצה להאמין שהמוסדות הרבניים כן ימצאו את הדרך להיות יותר נגישים ויותר מכילים את הצד השני. אפשר לעבור תהליך אורתודוקסי בצורה הרבה יותר אנושית והרבה יותר פתוחה, אבל חס וחלילה לא הייתי מוכן לקבל את כל ההמצאות של העולם הרפורמי. ואגב, אני חושב שזה גם, אם אנחנו עושים כזה איזה טוויסט, וגם התחלתי את זה עם חיה, אני חושב שכנראה זה גם, התפיסת העולם היהודית שלכם, היא גם נראה גם נגזרת של התפיסה הפוליטית שלכם.
אני חושבת שכאילו אם אתה מדבר על זה שאני כאילו גאה בלכלול ולא לדחוף, אז כן.
תשמעי, האמת חיה, אני שמח שעברת תהליך אורתודוקסי, ואת חלק מאיתנו, כל היותר שטויות.
תודה, אבל שימי, אני טוענת שהייתי ונולדתי חלק כאילו ממנו. זה לא משהו שהייתי צריכה לעבור. אני נולדתי יהודייה, וזה מה שגיא מנסה להסביר, שזה הם יהודים, כאילו גם בשורשים, גם באמונה, אולי לא בתרגילים שלהם, אולי לא במסורת שלהם, זה לא בדיוק הדתי. אבל פרם כאילו הגשה למשהו מאוד יפה, ואני רציתי פשוט להוסיף עוד משהו לזה. לגבי החב"ד, איך שהם לא מקשים על בני אדם כאילו להשתתף באורתודוקסיה כאילו של היהדות, וזה דבר שמאוד יפה בעיניים, שהם כאילו הם מוצאים מקום לכולם עד כמה שהם יכולים. ואני יכולה להגיד שכשאני כאילו גרתי איזה חופש גדול אחד עם אמא שלי בארצות הברית, כשנפרדתי מהגרוש שלי, אז כאילו אני שמתי אותם בקייטנה של חב"ד. וזה היה פעם ראשונה שהילדים שלי זכו ממש להיות באותו כיתה וללמוד ליד יהודים ששומרים מסורת. לא, אין להם אופציה כזאת. אז זה מה שאני אומרת, שכאילו יש לנו כל כך הרבה מחסומים, לא רק בינינו לבין כאילו שכנים שלנו, גם בין יהודי ליהודי, אנחנו לא לומדים ביחד, לא מכירים. ואני רואה את זה כבעיה, כי אנחנו אמורים להיות עם, לא כאילו התאחדנו כאן כדי לחיות ביחד, ולא לבנות עוד חומות וזה.
הגישה של חב"ד מדהימה, והם מגיעים לגישה הזאת בגלל שבשבילם זה חשוב לא לאבד שום נפש של יהודי. אז הם לא רוצים להקשות מהסיבה הזאת, כי הם לא רוצים לאבד נפש של יהודי. ובגלל זה מגיע מהגישה הזו. כי בשבילם, מה זה גיא? סליחה.
לא, חשבתי שסיימת, סליחה.
סיימתי.
לא נכון, תגידי.
מה לא נכון?
לא סיימת, באמצע משפט, אמרת שבשבילם הם לא רוצים להגיד.
לא, אמרתי, הם באים מהגישה הזאת, וכשרק הגרתי לארצות הברית מזמן, לפני הרבה שנים, אני עזבתי ממש צעירה את ישראל.
אני מבין, ראיתי בעצים שם את הילדים, מסתובבים ובאלפא צפון.
אתה רואה אותם אלפא ובעצים שם מסתובבים.
כן, כאילו רצים בין העצים מדי פעם לאלפא צפון כזה, לציר אלפא.
כן, הם נוגעים בבית וחוזרים כל הזמן.
כן, לגרם מדרגות שם, כן. זה חר, זה ביטי ותן את האירוע. כן.
כמה עדיין יש ילדים בגינה שנמצאת ממול הבית, וכמה ילדים שצמודים לבית.
עוד קיבלתי.
תכיר שגם ראינו קודם איזה 2 או 3, עדיין רואים אותם, מאחורי הבית שמשחקים בכדור. אתה רואה אותם עכשיו בתמונה שלי.
קיבלתי מדרום.
חיובי מדרום, 1 בגיר ועוד 3 או 4 ילדים.
מהו התהליך האמיתי לגיור ביהדות? אנחנו לא מדברים, כי היהדות היא דת שלה, יש לה, כלומר, היסטוריה של לפחות עכשיו, אני חושב, 3,000 שנה לפחות. אז מה היה התהליך לגיור, למשל, בשנה 500 לפני הספירה? זה לא היה כמו עכשיו. כי עכשיו יש את היהדות של הרבנים. אחרי ההריסה של בית המקדש השני, הרבנים הם, כלומר, היה להם תפקיד הכי גדול בכל מה שהוא חוקי. אז כל התהליך שעכשיו נמצא, הוא תהליך שנילד בתקופה הזאת, בתקופה שבה גם הם התחילו לכתוב את התורה בפה, כשהם התחילו, כלומר, לכתוב מדרשים, לכתוב את הכל. כי אתה, שימי, שאלת, אתה אמרת, הם חייבים להתגייר, אבל לעשות את זה בדרך האמיתית. אבל הדרך האמיתית אנחנו לא יודעים. יש לנו הוכחות כלומר, אני קראתי מאמר כלומר, סיינטיפיק, מדעי, בג'ורנל וכל זה, מדבר על הגיור אצל היהודים. וכנראה, היהודים בתוך האימפריה הרומנית הם היו 8% מהאוכלוסייה של האימפריה הרומנית. זה הרבה. ואחת מהסיבות, כלומר, הפרופסור שכותב את המאמר הזה הוא גם יהודי, אני חושב שהשם שלו לואיס פילדמן, והוא אמר שזה מוכיח שבתקופה הזאת, אנחנו מדברים על לפני הספירה, זה היה קל והיה הרבה עמים שכנים, התגיירו ליהדות. ולכן היהודים היו כל כך הרבה, ויש לנו גם יוספוס, כשיש לו את הספר הכי, יוספוס הוא כתב ספר על ההיסטוריה של הארץ ושל היהודים בפרט, והוא מתאר את כמה, המספר של האנשים שעלו לירושלים בימי החגים, וזה היה הרבה גם. אז כנראה, אנחנו יודעים גם שהורדוס שהיה, כלומר, הורדוס הוא היה מתגייר, הוא היה מתגייר מצד של אביו ומצד של האם שלו גם. אז אני חושב מהו אמיתי בסופו של הדבר, מהו נקי, הוא לא כל כך אמיתי ונקי. אנחנו גם חייבים בכל טרדיציה, בכל דת ובכל מסורת, אנשים הם חייבים לחשוב על זה גם, כי יש משהו כזה שיש שינוי, יכול להיות שהשינוי הזה, יכול להיות שהרבנים הם סגרו את הדלת של השינוי, כשהם כתבו את התלמוד, כשהם כתבו את כל התורה המסורתית שיש לנו עכשיו, שהיא שייכת למאה התשעית, לספירה. אז הם סגרו את הדלת, ולכן יש את התחושה יהודי הרחוב, שזה היה ככה מההתחלה. אבל זה ידוע כשזה לא היה ככה מההתחלה.
אני אגיד לך, מוחמד, אני יהודי הרחוב, אני מבין מה אתה אומר, כאילו כביכול שזה היהודי הנאיבי, אם אתה רוצה להחליף את המילה
לא, לא, לא נאיבים, לא, לא, לא. יש אנשים שיש להם ידע עמוק על הדת, ויש אנשים שהם דתיים, אבל הדת בשבילם זה, כלומר, זה הפולקלור, וזה נורמלי, הם הרוב בכל דת, הם הרוב בכל מסורת.
אז אוקיי, אז אני אענה לך על מה שאתה שואל, תראה, גיא אמר קודם, וגיא צודק, תראה, התורה, מי שנכתבה היא לא השתנתה. זה הולך, כמו שאמרת, 3,500 שנה אחורה, וזה עד היום. מה שכאן השתנו זה הרבנים, והרבנים הם אלה שכותבים את ההלכות, והרבנים הם אלה שזה במקום מסבירים להדיוטות את מה שנכתב בתורה. והם מנגישים לנו את המידע. וגם הם מייצרים כל מיני חוקים משניים בשביל לשמור על המסגרת. עכשיו, הדיון שהיה לנו פה, אצלכם למשל באסלאם, אתה הרי מוסלמי, אצלכם בשביל להיכנס, בשביל להפוך להיות מוסלמי, אני צריך להגיד את השהדה, ואני מוסלמי. בנצרות אותו דבר, אתה שופכים עליך מים, אתה אומר איזה משפט, ואתה נוצרי. היהדות היא עובדת אחרת, היהדות רוצה שאתה תעבור תהליך.
אבל ממתי? זאת השאלה, ממתי?
להגיד לך ממתי, הבנתי, להגיד לך ממתי אני לא יודע להגיד לך ממתי, אבל זה כבר מאוד
אתה יודע שזה לא נכתב בתורה. בתורה למשל, הציפורה, האישה של משה, האם היא הייתה יהודיה או לא? אתה חושב עליה כיהודיה?
לא, היא לא הייתה יהודיה. לא, גם ציפורה לא הייתה יהודיה, גם רות לא הייתה יהודיה.
לא,
נעמה לא הייתה יהודיה.
לא, היא לא הייתה יהודיה כי היא לא הייתה ישראלית.
רגע, מה זאת אומרת לא הייתה יהודיה? לא נולדה יהודיה.
כן, לא נולדה יהודיה.
לא נולדה.
לא, אבל לא מדברים על שום גיור של ציפורה.
לא,
זה היה לפני התורה.
אבל זה לא יהיה הוגן להגיד, הרי התורה לא יושבת ומפרטת כל דבר, נכון? היא נותנת כמו איזה סיכום כזה, 2-3 משפטים על כל דבר.
שימי בחייאת, כל הקטע של התורה זה להסביר ליהודים איך לעשות את הדברים. לפעמים הם חוזרים על אותו הוראות 2 או 3.
ולפעמים לא.
אבל אתה חושב
שהרי אם אתה רוצה לתאר היסטוריה של מאות שנים, אתה תצטרך לספרייה.
אני טוען שאין שום דבר שהתורה לא אומרת לך איך אנחנו אמורים לעשות את זה. היא מראה לך את זה, לפעמים כציווי, לפעמים בסיפור. למשל, מקודם דיברנו על רות, שאתה רואה את הסיפור ואתה גם רואה את רגע הגיור, כן? אתה רואה את הדבר הזה שאתה קורא לו אין נביא חוץ מאללה. אבל יש לנו עוד סיפור בתנ"ך. יש לנו את הסיפור של דינה ושכם. אתה מכיר את הסיפור של דינה ושכם?
חלקית.
דינה זו הייתה הבת של יעקב ולאה. והיא אנס אותה שכם בן חמור. מאיזשהו שבט, לא זוכר את שם השבט אפילו.
נראה לי המצרים או משהו כזה.
לא מצרים, בכנענים. כשהם הגיעו לארץ, אפשר לעשות גוגל. בכל מקרה,
לא משנה, לא.
אתה יודע, ביהדות אומרים לך שאם אתה אונס מישהי, מה אתה אמור לעשות?
להתחתן איתו.
אז השכם מגיע עם אבא שלו זה ראש אני אומר שבט, אבל אני מתכוון שבט כמו מואב, לא כמו מנשה. זאת אומרת, מהשבטים הכנענים, לא אנחנו. אתה מבין, יבוסי, אלה. באים לדבר עם יעקב ועם האחים של דינה שכועסים, והם אומרים, יאללה, נתחתן. כאילו, ולא רק שנתחתן, גם זה שאנחנו נתחתן, ניתן לכם גישה לארץ, כי אתם כרגע גרים, אבל אם תבואו להתחתן איתנו, אתם תהיו כנענים. אז אומרים לו היהודים, תקשיב, זה לא כל כך פשוט אצלנו. בשביל שדינה תוכל להתחתן איתכם, יש תהליך. תהליך? מה התהליך? אומר שכם בן חמור. אז הם אומרים לו, זה מאוד פשוט. יש לנו ברית עם אלוהים. אתם רוצים להיות עם אחד איתנו, אתם צריכים להיכנס תחת הברית הזאת. דקירה קטנה בבולבול. אתם צריכים לחתוך את הלמעלה. וממשיך הסיפור, והם עושים את זה, ואנחנו הורגים את כולם. אבל הרעיון הוא שהם מראים לך עוד דוגמה. איך אתה נהיה יהודי? בוא תעשה הטפת דם, אתה יהודי. אודרופ.
אז אני אגיד לך,
היי,
אתה יודע,
גיא,
אם
איפה
אני
אני יכולה
לוקח את
לקרוא
מה
על זה
שאתה אומר,
בתורה?
אתה יודע, זה
סליחה.
מאוד...
זה בראשית, זה דינה ושכם.
לא, אני אגיד לך,
ואיפה
מה שאתה
בראשית
אומר,
אני
אני אגיד לך
יכולה
למה
למצוא את זה?
מוזר לי, ומאוד מפתיע אותי.
33, בכם. 33.
בראשית,
אני אוהבת
בראשית 33.
אתה יודע, גיא,
מספקת
למד ג'.
אוקיי,
גיא,
תודה.
תקשיבו שנייה, אני רוצה לשאול אותך שאלה. האם אתה רואה, כי לפי מה שאתה אומר, בסוף הכל, איך אתה אומר, זה חרטה, הכל שטויות. אז טוב, הנה, יש לנו פה את מוחמד שהוא מוסלמי, יש לנו, אני בטוח פה את פרם שהיא אינדית, ואנחנו בטוח נוכל גם להביא לפה נוצרים. מה, אתה יכול להגיד לי מה ההבדל בין...
בודהיסטית, למה אתה כזה? לא יפה.
סליחה, בודהיסטית, מחילה, בודהיסטית. אני אומר, אתה יכול להגיד לי בתפיסת עולמך מה ההבדל בין כולנו? או שפשוט כל אחד מספר לעצמו בתפיסת עולמך את הסיפור שאבא שלו סיפר לו, ובזה נגמר הסיפור.
שוב, שימי, אני לא מתייחס ליהדות שלי כאחת מהדתות האלה שאתה רושם ברשימה.
אבל שימי,
אני מספר לך על העם שלי, שימי, אני מספר לך על סבא, 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 רב. אתה מבין? כשאני אומר דינה, זאת סבתא דינה. אני לא מספר לך על איזשהו משהו אמת אבסולוטית, כמו הבודה או כמו מוחמד, אני מספר לך סיפור משפחתי, יפה, כאילו, אני מספר לך, אתה רוצה לשמוע מה קרה לסבתא דינה?
אז איך אתה מתייחס לספר...
דודה דינה נראה לי, נכון?
אז איך אתה מתייחס לספר בראשית?
להתחלה, כי זה ספר בראשית, אתה מתכוון לכמה פרקים הראשונים?
כן.
אחי, אני לא יודע כמה אתה סטודנט של הדברים האלה, אבל למשל, אם אתה מדבר על אדם או על נוח, זה סיפורי...
אלוהים ברא את השמיים ואת הארץ.
כן, בוודאי. תקשיב, זה סיפורים ששאלנו, כמו שאתה אומר, העתקנו, נדבק לנו מעמים אחרים, מצאנו חפירות ארכיאולוגיות. רגע, תן לי גמור משפט, שימי. תן לי גמור משפט, כי אתה הולך לאהוב את המשפט הבא. מצאנו חפירות ארכיאולוגיות של 1000 שנה, לפני שהיה קיים העם. כתוב, אני לא ממציא, כן? זה לא קונספירציה, אין יהודים, חס וחלילה או משהו כזה. סיפור המבול, נוח, עשרות מהשמות שנמצאים בתנ"ך, נמצאים בכתבים יותר עתיקים מהסיפור שלנו היסטורית, ארכיאולוגית. שזה נפלא, אנחנו יודעים שאברהם אבינו לא נולד בתל אביב. כן? זה לא שאנחנו מתביישים בעובדה הזאת, שאנחנו... נוצרנו מתוך עם אחר.
תגיד שהוא עיראקי.
עיראקי! לא מתביישים בזה שאנחנו עיראקים, כן? עברי אנוכי.
מה? רגע, מה, הוא היה עיראקי? כי אני עיראקית.
הוא בא מאורקשדים. אנחנו לא יודעים מי אנחנו, אחי, אני עיראקי, אתה עיראקי, כולנו עיראקים, הבן אדם לא היה נראה לו הגיוני, השטויות האלה עם הפסק.
So what they're talking about right now is Abraham was not born in Tel Aviv. He wasn't born in Israel. He was born in Iraq. So Abraham, the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Abraham, he is an Iraqi, is what they say. Pretty funny.
הסיפור שאנחנו מספרים על האבא שלנו.
אני יודע שהוא ישן קצת חשיש וקיבל הזיות.
אחי, התורה מלאה למה אומרים, אתה יודע למה קוראים לזה קנאביס? שימי, אתה יודע למה קוראים לזה קנאביס?
למה?
כי לא יודעים להגיד קנה בושם.
אני רוצה להגיד משהו למוחמד, אם תרשו לי. מוחמד, לגבי זה שאמרת שיהודים קיבלו מהר לתוך היהדות. אני יודעת למשל על יהדות עיראק, אני במקרה יודעת כי ההורים שלי הגיעו מבגדד, עיראק. אני יודעת על היהדות הזו, שמאז שהם גורשו מיהודה לבגדד, עיראק, הם לא התערבבו, לא רק שהם לא קיבלו, הם לא התערבבו, ובגלל זה אפילו במשפחה אצלי יש בני דודים שנשואים, וזה הכל היה רק שלא התחתנו עם מישהו שלא יהודי. וזה, אני לא יודעת, אני לא יודעת את השנה שבדיוק היהדות עיראק גורשה מיהודה. אם מישהו יודע מתי יהדות עיראק גורשה מיהודה
המאה השישית לפני הספירה.
אז אתה יכול ללכת לפחות אחורה עד המאה השישית, שבטוח שהיהדות הזו לא קיבלה אף אחד.
אבל זה שונה, כשאתה מדברת על יהודים שהם היו מיעוט בעיראק, אבל כשאנחנו מדברים על היהודים שהיו בארץ, היה להם ביטחון עצמי, כי הם היו הרוב שם. אז זה שונה. האמצעות שלהם בארץ הייתה שונה מהאמצעות של המיעוטים בעיראק ובמצרים.
אז אתה אומר...
מוחמד, אבל מה זה השטויות האלה? היהודים היו מיעוט ב-70 מדינות ברחבי תבל.
ברחבי...
אני רק רוצה להגיד ל-rebuke and reprove שאני מאוד מאוד אוהב את השפת העברית, ואני מבין כל מה שהם אומרים. אם אתה רצינית, נוצרי רצינית, היית יכול גם כן לדבר בעברית וללמוד עברית, אבל לא עשית את זה. אז אתה פייק, אתה פרוד. וזהו. גמרתי.
כן, לא, אבל אני אומרת שיהדות עיראק לא עשתה את זה, אבל אני בטוחה שאתה אומר אז אתה אומר שהיהודים כשהם חיו בישראל, הם עשו את זה כי הם הרגישו ביטחון. אני חולקת עליך, לפי דעתי, יהדות עיראק המשיכה את המסורת של היהודים בארץ ישראל, לא להתחתן, לא לקבל מי שלא יהודי, ויכול להיות שהיהודים האחרים
אתה יודע מה? rebuke and reprove? אני מדבר עכשיו את שפת התורה. אתה לא מבין אף מילה, שום מילה שאני אומר. אתה תתבייש. תתבייש אתה. כוסוקתוק.
משפטיים או לא, אז הגיור הוא ככה. דרך, כלומר, הגיור, דרך התנא, אני יודע, אז יש דבר אחר, כשהעמים השכנים, הם גם, שפת האם שלהם הייתה דומה לעברית, אז האנשים האלה, הם היו אותו דבר. אתה יודע, למשל, שבלבנון, הפיניקים, הם דיברו כנענית צפונית שהיא דומה לעברית למעשה. אז הם לא היו כל כך, אתה יודע, זה לא, הם הכירו אחד את השני טוב, והם התערבו לפחות כשהם חיו באותו מקום. זה לא, החומות לא היו כל כך גבוהים כמו שימי אמר, הם לא היו כל כך גבוהים. אז לכן, היה את התהליך הזה, ואני סיפרתי לך, אני מצאתי את השם של המאמר שאני דיווחתי לכם עליו. השם של המאמר הוא Conversion to Judaism in Classical Antiquity. והסופר הוא פלדמן, לואיס פלדמן, הוא פרופסור בישיבה אוניברסיטי בארצות הברית למעשה. והוא מתאר למה המדעים וההיסטוריונים הם חושבים שהעובדה שהעם, כלומר היהודים בארץ הם היו כל כך רבים, וגם בתוך האימפריה הרומנית, אין, כלומר, להבין את זה, יש, הסיבה היחידה היא הגיור, הסיבה היחידה, מבחינה סטטיסטית, וגם הוא מדבר על כמה הוכחות לכך, לעובדה שהם קיבלו.
Wesley Curry II. אני מציע שאתה תסיים עם השטויות, בבקשה. אוקיי?
שייך שבטית לעם ישראל, כשברור שהיא לא היה, והוא ידע את זה. אני חושב שאז, בזמן הזה, בתקופה הזאת, יהדות היא הייתה דת. הבחינה שיהדות היא אותו דבר כמו לשייך לעם, לשבטים, היא משהו שהוא בעייתי, כי זה הדבר של ה-correlation וה-causality, את יודעת. יש כזאת הבנה שיהדות היא גם דת.
מוחמד, אתה לוקח את השיחה לכיוון שכאילו...
אז אני מפסיק.
תודה, אני מבינה את הדרך שלך, אני חושבת שזה יותר מסובך ממה שאתה מסביר פה, אוקיי? זה שהגיור היה יותר פשוט, כאילו, בזמנים עתיקים, נכון, כאילו, הקהילה היא דינמית, אוקיי? גם החוקים שלה דינמיים, אוקיי? אבל אנחנו לא כאילו שמים את ההדרגה של אם אנחנו כאילו שבט או לא, על זה, אוקיי? כי הרוב, זה לא שהיה איזה גיור ענקי, אוקיי? אם היה, אז זה היה כשהגענו קודם כל לארץ, ואז היינו כאילו עם שבנו תרבות, דת, כל זה ביחד, וכן יש איזשהו זהות גם אתני לכל העניין הזה, אוקיי?
עכשיו,
אז לא, בבקשה.
זה חלק מהדמיון.
רגע, לא, זה מה שאתה טוען, אוקיי? אבל, כאילו, the genetics הם מספרים משהו אחר.
לא, הג'נטיקס הם אומרים שהעם היהודי הוא שייך לארץ, הוא שייך לכנען, הוא שייך לאזור הזה. הוא לא אומר אם הם היו בני השבטים, אם הם היו בני המואבים ובני הפיניקים. הם אומרים גם הם לבנטים.
אבל אף אחד לא טוען את זה שזה משהו אחר. ולכן אני אומרת שאתה פשוט מכניס עניין שאנחנו לא מדברים עליה. אנחנו מדברים על תהליכי גיור, אנחנו מדברים על זהות העם היהודי, ומי זה יהודי, והוא יכול לקבוע את זה, ומי יכול. אנחנו לא מדברים על זה, האם תהליכי גיור בתוך היסטוריה מספרים את הסיפור, האם אנחנו שבט או לא. אז תבינו אותי.
לא, אני מגיב את השאלה. בכם יש שאלה. יכול להיות שהתגובה שלי היא לא כל כך, כלומר, יכול להיות שהיא בעייתית בשבילך, ואני מבין את זה, אבל אני לא רציתי לדבר על זה כנושא עיקרי פה. אני רק אגבתי על שאלה שלכם.
בלי כל הפרטים, מה רצית להעלות פה? כי אנחנו דיברנו על כאילו איך אנחנו יכולים להבין מה הגיור היה לפי התנ"ך.
לא,
ואתה לוקח את זה לכיוון אחר לחלוטין, אז אני רוצה להבין מה אם זה לא כאילו להוכיח שאנחנו לא שבט, שזה כן טיפה מטריד, ואתה יודע את זה, זה בסדר שאתה חושב ככה, אבל זה טיפה מטריד.
לא, זה לא מטריד, זה לא חייב,
אתה פותח את זה. אז מה בעצם באת להגיד, חמוד? אני לא מבינה.
לא, את לא מבינה? אוקיי, אני מסביר מחדש. אנחנו מדברים ידעית, אנחנו לא מדברים, הנה, פה אנחנו לא...
אבל לא דיברנו מדעית, אתה מדבר מדעית.
אני דיברתי מדעית.
אתה מדבר היסטורי, ואנחנו מדברים...
זה הבחינה שלי. יכול להיות שאת לא מסכימה איתי, וזה אוקיי, אין בעיה. אין בעיה.
אני רק רוצה להגיד משהו קטן. אני אגיד לך, מוחמד, אתה יש לך קטע כזה, ואתה עושה את זה בכל דיון שיש לנו. אתה מגיע עם הרבה חומר, ועם הרבה, איך אתה קורא לזה, הרבה חומר מדעי. עכשיו, אני מניח שרובנו פה לא מכירים את החומר הזה, לא נחשפנו אליו, וכביכול אתה ממנף את זה כאילו כאיזה סוג של נשק, כאילו להראות שאתה צודק. בוא, בשביל לנהל דיון כזה, צריך פה אנשים מהאקדמיה שיכולו להתמודד עם מה שאתה אומר, אנחנו לא לנו את הידע הזה.
אני לא מאקדמיה, אני בעצמי לא מאקדמיה.
אני מבין, מוחמד, אבל לנו אין את הידע הזה, אז אנחנו לא... זה שלנו אין את הידע הזה, לא הופך אותך לצודק, אתה מבין?
אני רוצה להיות צודק, אני
אתה רוצה להיות צודק, בוא, בטח שאתה רוצה להיות צודק.
לא, אני מדבר כמוכם, את נותנים לי את התחושה שאני, יש לי קונספירציה, לא, יש לי את
אבל זה ברור
אני
שאתה
חושב
מגיע עם
ככה,
אג'נדה.
אני חושב ככה.
מוחמד, תגיד לי מה, אנחנו ילדים קטנים, אתה מגיע עם אג'נדה, וזה בסדר, חי אמר לך, it's okay. אתה יכול לבוא עם האג'נדה שלך.
לא אג'נדה, לא. יש לי את הדעות שלי. זה לא אג'נדה, יש לך את הדעות שלך. אני לא אומר לך, אתה סוכן של, אני לא יודע, של השב"כ, כי אתה רוצה לשכנע אותי כשיש א', ב', ג'. לא, אני אומר, אוקיי, מבחינתך זה ככה, מבחינתי זה ככה. אז
מוחמד,
אני לא אוהב
אבל
את הדבר של האג'נדה וכל זה.
לא, הכל בסדר. אני פשוט רציתי לציין שאתה לוקח את השיחה לכיוון אחרת. רציתי לתת לך כאילו איזה ממש חצי דקה לשים במילים פשוטים מה שרצית לעלות ולתרום לשיחה של גיאור.
לא, זה היה תגובה ישרה על מה ששימי אמר, כמו תהליך אמיתי. ואני שאלתי, מהו התהליך האמיתי?
אוקיי, אז זה, שמה אני יכולה לזרום איתך, ואפשר אפילו להמשיך לפי התנ"ך, כי דיברנו עכשיו על כאילו איזה דוגמה שהסיפור של דינה וילדי יעקב, כאילו מה זה אומר
בדיוק.
מבחינת גיאור.
אבל הסיפור של דינה הוא למעשה, הוא כל כך דומה לסיפור אצל המוסלמים. ברית מילה, וזה הכל. ברית מילה, ואתה מגדיר את עצמך כמו יהודי, וזה הכל. ואתה עובד את
אבל רגע, מוחמד, יש עוד נושאים ועוד מקראים של גיאור בתנ"ך. אוקיי?
בדיוק, לכן אני דברתי על ציפורה. האם אנחנו מגדירים את ציפורה כמו יהודית, מבחינה דתית או לא?
רגע, אני אסביר לך, אבל אני אצטרך לעשות את זה דרך סיפור אחרת. אז אתה מכיר את הסיפור של רות, אוקיי? רות התאהבה בבועז ובועז עליה, אוקיי? רות היא כאילו סבתא רבא של המלך דוד, אוקיי? אז בעצם מה אמרו לבועז, כאילו החכמים, אוקיי? בועז הוא היה גם נחשב כחכם. אמרו לה שהיא צריכה לקחת את דברו, אוקיי? ולחיות בתוך העם שלו ולקחת את דרכיהם, אוקיי? אז זה עוד דוגמה. אז זה מאוד רחב, אוקיי? לפרט מה זה אומר להתגאר ליהדות, וזה לא מפורט, אבל אנחנו מבינים שצריכים באמת להתבולל באיזשהו שלב. אז זה לא רק על ברית מילה, זה היה משהו אחר.
כי היא הייתה אישה.
אוקיי, עכשיו, אתה שאלת ציפורה, אוקיי? ציפורה התחתנה עם משה לפני שקיבלנו את התנ"ך, כאילו את התורה, אוקיי? לפני שקיבלנו את כאילו חוקים, אוקיי. אבל היא ממש חיה בתוך כל התהליך הזה להעביר את החוקים. אז הגיאור שלה זה היה בשידור חי. וזה היה גיאור קהילתי, לא רק של ציפורה, אלא של כל עברי שעבר את ה-Red Sea. אתה מבין?
אז את מגדירה את ציפורה כמו יהודית, מבחינתך.
זה אותו דבר עם משה, כאילו הוא נולד עברי, והתנ"ך מאוד ספציפי.
בדיוק.
אוקיי? אז עברי, העברים עברו תהליך גיור ביחד, כשהם קיבלו את התורה.
אוקיי, וככה אנחנו רואים שיש משהו שהוא יהדות, ויש משהו שהוא לשייך כלומר, לשבטים של העברים. כי ציפורה היא מבחינת הגזע, היא לא עברית.
לא. מה הקשר לגזע?
לא,
מה הקשר? מדברים על גיור.
לא, עכשיו, אוקיי, כשהיא, הגיור שלה ליהדות, הוא לא היה בעייתי, הוא היה משהו טבעי. כי היא התחתנה עם יהודי, היא הייתה עדה. יכול להיות שהיא ראה את הכל, כל מה שקרה בשידור חי, כמו שאתה אמרת. אז אני רק מדבר על, ואין תהליך, אנחנו לא מדברים, אין תיאור לתהליך להיות יהודייה, מלבד שהיא, רק היא האמינה ביהדות כמו דת וכמו בתורה, כמו מישהו שהאלוהים או אלוקים נתן לה משה. זה הכל, נקודה. אין תיאור לתהליך בתורה לפחות.
אוקיי. חוץ מזה של כאילו מעבר של העברים ליהודים, אוקיי? כאילו שבט עם דת, אוקיי? אתה לא תראה הרבה דוגמאות של גיור, אוקיי? אז זה שימי צודק למרות שהוא לא פה, אוקיי? אז הבנו מהתנ"ך שיש כן כללים, שזה לא רק עניין של אמונה, אלא איך שאתה חי, אוקיי? כדי להיות יהודי, וזה יכול לקחת זמן, זה לא באמת ברור, בטח שזה ישתנה תוך המאות, אוקיי? אז אני הייתי אומרת שאין דבר כזה אמיתי, כמו ששימי כאילו משתמש במילה, אם אני הבנתי אותו נכון, אבל יש כאילו את הסטנדרטים, וזהו.
לא, זה לא ככה, אני לא מסכים איתך. אני חושב שבטח כשיש גרעין, והגרעין הוא כלומר, החלק העברי בתוך היהדות, זה הגרעין. כלומר, כל פעם שהתנ"ך הוא מדבר על אנשים שהם מעורבים לאנשים החשובים בתוך התנ"ך. כלומר, like the most interesting persons. התנ"ך לא מדבר על, לא יודע, על
But Muhammad, you don't have information about who the Tanakh doesn't speak about.
בדיוק, וזה מה שאני אומר לך. כשאת אומרת, אוקיי, אין כל כך דוגמאות בתנ"ך על הגיור, זה נורמלי, זה לא נשמע כמו, אוקיי, אבל זה לא הוכחה לכך שלא היו כל כך גיורים אחרי, ובעיקר, בפחת אחרי החזירה של יהודים מבבילון לארצה בתקופה של הפרסים.
בסדר, אבל אף אחד לא, גם ככה לא ניסה להוכיח משהו. כאילו, אנחנו מדברים פשוט על מסורת ועל תהליכים וזהו. אף אחד לא בא להוכיח.
לא, את אמרת, אני לא יודע, יכול להיות
אני אומרת סליחה אם לא הייתי ברורה, אוקיי. זה לא לגמרי ברור לפי התנ"ך מה כלול בתהליך גיור, אבל זה כן ברור שזה לא סתם להגיד אני מאמין באל אחד. זה חלק מזה, זה לא הכל, זה לא רק על בסיס אמונה. אני אומרת שהחכמים בכל כאילו, what's the word I'm looking for? Age. בכל עת.
תקופה.
לא, זה לא תקופה. זה כאילו, לא משנה, לא משנה.
בכל דור?
No, not every generation, כי זה לא, זה לא מתחלף כל כך הרבה, כאילו אפילו בין הדורות, זה לא כזה מהר. מה שאני אומרת זה
גיל יכול להיות, נדע.
Never mind. Maybe Guy will help us with the word. But what I'm saying is the sages in each age are dictating, okay? And in different regions they're dictating what the process should be. And of course it's dynamic and it changes. But information about mass conversions and things like this, I have no idea, and nobody set out to talk about it. We began with a much
because actually
a different question.
Yeah, because no, the way it sounds, I mean, like from my perspective, is that when Christianity opened the doors wide, like those were wide open with Christianity, it's by that very time, actually Christianity, like the rise of Christianity was simultaneous to the fact that Judaism has become standardized. Namely, the Talmud started being written, and the Midrashim, and all these stuff has started being standard by the time the Christianity arose. So Christianity, the spread of Christianity had something to do with the way rabbinical Judaism defined the process of the giyur, of the conversion. We have to look at at this from afar, not only within the tradition. We have to take in account what happened elsewhere too. Not elsewhere, actually, it happened in the same place. So there is this to it. So that is the thing. I mean, like the fact of like being exclusive. I mean, we can even see it in Christianity itself. Even Christianity has to undergo that process because the first Christians were Jews, and they did not want to have the non-Jews coming and converting. Actually, they were surprised, and there are proofs to that within the Gospels. They were surprised when like Peter converted the first centurion, Roman centurion. And then they were also surprised when Paul started really like bringing Greeks, and then they were surprised when these Greeks, when they would come, they would like, for instance, they would not be veiled. The women would not be veiled. What we do know that the Jewish women back then, they used to have a veil, so they were surprised at that and that kind of things. So even Christianity itself, it had people within it that wanted it to be exclusive. They don't want it to be wide open, and it was the current of James, who was supposed to be the brother from the mother side of Jesus. So in Judaism, Christianity is a Judaism in a way, and all the standardization of Judaism, the way we come to know it right now. I mean, like with the Tanaim, all that has something to do with that part of the history of Judaism. That was the thing that I wanted to say, nothing more and nothing less.
סבבה. עמוס, אתה פה? פרם גיא, ניקי? אף אחד. רק אני ומוחמד.
לא, אני פה.
אני מתוקה.
אבל אני לא מבינה גדולה בתורה וכל הדברים האלו.
גם אני לא.
אני כאילו, פעם אחרונה שקראתי, זה היה כשהייתי בתיכון, אני ממש לא... לפני הרבה, כאילו עברו הרבה שנים מאז.
פרם, יש לנו אחלה סיפורים. אפילו לבודהיסטית.
לא, אני לא ממש בודהיסטית, אני...
לא, משחקת איתך.
אמרתי את זה, כאילו, אני לא, I don't follow any religion.
Me neither.
אבל לא, זה מעניין לי, יכול להיות הסיפורים שאתם מספרים, זה מאוד מעניין. אני צריכה לקרוא...
כאילו, תתחילי מההתחלה, זה כאילו, בתור מבוגר, זה משהו מדהים. איך שזה כתוב, לא יודעת, זה קשה לא להתחבר.
עכשיו אתם החזרתם אותי לתקופה של הבית ספר שלמדתי בישראל, שהייתי ילדה. אז הסיפורים חוזרים לאט לאט, אני נזכרת בכל הסיפורים. האמת שזה, כן, יש סיפורים די יפים.
מוחמד, הבנת? החזרנו לה לימי תיכון. אנחנו כמו מורים. משעממים.
אבל חיה, את גדלת בארץ או בארצות הברית או בחול? לא יודע איפה.
אני גדלתי בחול.
בחול. אז היית בבית ספר יהודי?
לא, הייתי בבית ספר ציבורי, והלכתי לשיעורים אחרי בית הספר, פעמיים בשבוע.
Like Sunday school?
ואז יש את Sunday school, כן, אני הבנתי שלמוסלמים שגרים כאילו בארצות שהן לא מוסלמיות, יש להם אותו סגנון של חינוך.
יש משהו כזה, אבל זה, אתה יודעת, גם זה תלוי במקום. יש מקומות שאין בהם, like, אין בהם משהו, אין בהם, כלומר, מקומים בבתי ספר כאלה, ויש גם לפעמים, יכול להיות שאפילו כשאתה מוסלמי, אתה לא מסכים עם הקבוצה שמארגנת את הבית ספר המוסלמי הזה במקום שאתה גר בו, אז את לא שולח את הילד שלך או שלך לבית ספר הזה, אז זה לא כל כך קל.
אוקיי. בארצות הברית אין כזה, כאילו, diversity. כאילו, זה תלוי בגודל של הקהילה, אבל בדרך כלל זה יהודי, אפילו נגיד כשאני הגעתי לארץ והבנתי כאילו פער בין אשכנזי וספרדי זה אפילו משהו כאן, אני קצת הופתעתי, כי זה היה ערבוב, למרות שרוב אשכנזים בקהילה שהייתי, אבל אף אחד לא שאל באמת, זה לא, כאילו גזע זה לא היה מרכזי.
בארצות הברית יהדות מתחלקת לאורתודוקס, conservative and reform, and then you go if you are reform you go to the reform synagogue. If you're conservative, you go to the conservative synagogue. In Israel it's different. It's divided differently. Either you're religious or not, and within then it's divided between Sephardic, Mizrahi, and Ashkenazi. So it's very different from the U.S.
Right. It's not only in the U.S., it's in the Western world. I mean, that division that you've given, the three, like the conservatives, the Orthodox, and the Reformed.
I don't think, I'm not sure, I don't think there is in Israel. I don't know, I'm not...
No, I mean,
wait, let me finish. I wanted to say that Israel is divided to religious or not religious, and then the religious Jews, which are the Haredim, they have many different groups within them. But I think in the U.S. it's different, right, Chaya? Like Reform, Conservative, and
yeah,
Orthodox.
It's more related to level of practice.
All right, this is kind of becoming more of a religious conversation. So I'm just going to switch rooms. Hang tough. While I do that, shouldn't be very long. At all.
It's not about the leaders, it's about the ideology, it's about their core beliefs. It's leaders don't matter. You have just another leader, you cut off a head, another one grows. It doesn't matter about the leaders. You have to try to re-educate somehow the youth of these people, and because they're taught to hate and they're taught that this skewed view of the world, and that's not going to change because it's an ideology. It's not like Hitler, where he was when he committed suicide, the Nazi, everything fell and crumbled. It's not like that with these terrorist groups. They're not led by their leaders. They're led by ideology and hate.
So this is one of the things that people don't make public. Generally, I've got the videos, I've posted them and everything, blah 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 blah. The reality is that you have children as young as 8 or 9 literally going down to the beach to practice the Hitler salute. And if you do it, you get about a few, like half an hour extra off, for your lunch, literally. You walk into a very dystopian room, a world, and it's really hard to explain how much they generally believe this. You can look up at the Imshin account, all the shops, all the buildings that are named after Hitler. You can look up all the textbooks which literally say Hitler did the right thing. The Holocaust was just dealing with the Jews. And I'm sorry to be graphic, including I've got a Holocaust survivor up on my stage. I'm very sorry, but this is the reality. You know, if you actually read the Palestinian textbooks, in the full proper translated version, in Gaza, they say Hitler was doing the right thing. And they romanticize it beautifully in their minds. This is the reality. So tell me how you're going to make peace with Gaza, and they're not going to work with you. I think this is the reality that we keep beating around the bush about. The PA, we are stuck dealing with the PA in some way because it's actually technically in the internals of Israel. That's the reality. But look at Jordan. Jordan's not even willing to open their board to the PA because they're fully aware, very, very fully aware what exactly would happen. The PA is now radicalizing rapidly. The mayor of one of the largest cities openly boasts about killing Jews. I can also go on about the other mayors. Jenin literally has no control. That is basically now Hamas PIJ territory within the PA, Palestinian Authority. Fatah has no control over it anymore. PA has no more control over it. These large cities are now falling to Hamas and PIJ. So it's beautiful, rosy world where we talk about a two-state solution. I believe in a two-state solution because I don't want, Jews to be a minority in our own land, in our own country. And I don't want the conflict. But there's rosy idea that somehow, even among Jews, we keep saying about there's going to be peace, we're going to handhold, really is not going to happen. In the PA, I literally know people who are waiting death for selling something to Jews, including houses, items from their shops. I've literally met, I literally know the people who are awaiting death penalty under PA law for selling their homes to a Jew. They will be killed, either directly or indirectly, when they go to slaughterhouse prison. Literally, that's the name even by Palestinians of Jericho prison. This is the reality, and I think this is one of the things we have to start talking about and stop, walking around in this sort of glass tinted world, in my opinion.
The issue is I know that when there was the British mandate was separated into Israel and Jordan, Jordan was supposed to be this Palestinian state. They had their Palestinian state and they rejected it. And we also know all the times they rejected the Palestinian state. And what Fiona, what you're saying is absolutely true. It's not, we can't think about this in the way that these things are going to we're magically going to have peace and hold hands together. And it's just not going to happen. And I agree with you, two-state solution is great, but it's not going to be within the borders of Israel.
Actually, they have Gaza, and they don't even get peace. They don't accept even peace from Gaza to Israel. I was over 7 hours in this discussion with the German Palestinians, and they don't understand it. They say, okay, we have to first find an agreement with Judea and Samaria, and that a peace with Gaza can begin. It's actually, they don't want it.
Because I don't mean to be harsh, but I've spent so much time dealing with Palestinians, working with them. I've worked with them extensively, even as a translator. The reality on the ground is that when most Palestinians are talking about a two-state solution, ask them about Haifa, because this is the key word. They say, we have to deal with the two-state solution, we have to come to agreement. But the really sensitive point within Palestinian political discourse is actually Haifa. This is within their own community. Because Haifa is used as a keyword. What is going to happen to the refugees? And they know very cynically that if these Palestinians who are not actually legally refugees under international, if they are to return, would overwhelm Israel's Jewish population. Literally, it would no longer be a Jewish state. They had voluntarily left in 1948, and they around about 750,000 Arabs voluntarily left. Now, they will later call themselves Palestinians, and they have the right to identify themselves as Palestinians, so I'll call them Palestinians. But you know what the current estimate by UNRWA and the PA is? Over 15 million. In just over 70 years, we've gone from 750,000 to about 15 million, is believed is in the Palestinian diaspora that could have the right of return. This is one issue. So when they talk about Haifa, you can ask them about Haifa. And then the second thing that comes up is, okay, if you have the two-state solution, what are you going to do with Palestinian refugees? And they will always say they have to return to Israel, even though that they voluntarily left. Because there is a real genuine belief that, I'm going to pick on an example, and I mean this in absolutely no disrespect to the Israelis in the room, who I know here. Like, there is more down in the audience, and there's Yuri up on stage. They genuinely believe that their houses belong to them, to their grandfathers. Even if Uri's house is a new build, it belongs to them. And they will finally have the manifestation of the life that they believe they deserve. And this is what they don't say publicly. And I've listened to it over and over again. They will literally come to Uri's house and take his house, even with his kids in it, and say, okay, we now get the life that we deserve. Because this is what's been promised to them. They've been promised for over 70, almost to say around about 75 years, that they will have the manifestation of the destiny that they deserve by taking it from the Jews. And I don't mean to be harsh, but this is generally what is said behind closed doors. So you can ask about the keyword Haifa, or I'll specifically ask about quote-unquote Palestinian refugees, which are not refugees under international law. Because the reality is, this is why it will go nowhere, and they ask for the right of return. Because even if they were so inclined not to do the right of return, it's a fundamental building block to Palestinian identity. It's the manifestation of their life as they see it. And it is by literally taking Uri's house, or Moore's house, or Amnon's house. It's not about peace. It's not about coming to some hand-holding, like, beautiful thing. And I'm not doing down on the Oslo Accords, because that's what people thought the Oslo Accords were. But it's not generally the Oslo Accords. They generally believe they're going to come and take Uri's house. His children are going to get kicked out. He's going to get kicked out. And suddenly they're going to have the life that they deserve.
Actually, with many Palestinians we discussed today, they spoke about what the Israelis have to do that a peace can come. And there were a discussion, they stayed over an hour, and there were multiple discussions and claims about, you did this and you did this, and why are you only show the victim card. And in the end, they said, you are unfair what you do here on stage, the moderators, we Muslims, we will take everything, and it was really this case. In the beginning, they spoke about that they want a solution, and the solution that everyone is happy, and this whole stuff. And in the end, when they were angry, they said, "Oh, we will kill us all, and we take everything, or we will throw you out and take everything." This was the end of every discussion. No, there was one discussion that ended a little bit different, but in the end, when they didn't reach that we agree to their story, they actually said, okay, we will throw you all in the river. But when we spoke about it, please give Marvin in the in the audience a follow. Marvin did a great job in the room I was. He helped, and he moderated with, that was really nice, and he really understands the situation, and besides it was really good. He really stayed calm when the Jewish moderators on stage get emotional. Thanks for your service. Thanks for the friendship.
No, I'm not saying this to be controversial. I'm saying this to try and shift the discussion. I know people are DMing me. But, you know, when we talk about what do the Palestinians want, it's actually really clear. I just sort of pushed it along a little bit by mentioning Haifa and the manifestation of their destiny, as I'm going to call it. This is ultimately where the discussion should be. When we talk about peace, and they are very cynical about it as well. The Palestinian leadership knows exactly what they're doing. They're trying to keep Jews on the back foot. So you know what the statement that was released today from the Palestinian leadership? Even in the quote-unquote moderate ones, we're great. We support the terrorist attacks on the so-called morning of the alleged temple. They have to at every point try and delegitimize Jews, and people do a great disservice. And I don't care about the international community. Like I'm going to be moving to Israel anyway soon. You know what I mean? Okay, fine. But, you know, this is where the discussion should be at. And I go into room after room. And I'm not even talking about the infamous one, you know, with the two famous Israelis who were going at it in that room. I'm not even talking about that one. Generally, I go into room after room and people say, you know, we have to do peace, we have to do this, we have to do that. I would suggest, first of all, actually listening to Palestinians and actually asking them two critical questions. What, you know, besides just going, you know, asking about Haifa, ask them about the Palestinian, quote-unquote, Palestinian refugees, Haifa, and a manifestation of their future. We all know what the manifestation of our future is. You know, we want to be successful, we want to have kids, you know, hopefully, you know, some of us will go and live in Israel soon, X, Y, and Z. If you ask Palestinians, what is the manifestation of your future? They say, oh, we're going to return to Haifa. You know, our family are going to return to Haifa. You know, we're suddenly going to, you know, move into, you know, Uri's home. Well, that's not going to happen. And I can assure you, Uri's not going to let some random people move into his kid's house. So this is the problem. And I see all these rooms like people debating, you know, how do we get peace? You know, what went wrong with the Oslo Accords? We didn't do anything wrong with the Oslo Accords. We tried really, really hard. It's now on the Palestinians to stomp up and come in and sign the deal. And second of all, start actually listening to the Palestinians on what they're critically evaluate what they're saying.
Theon, the question is, how many rockets, to the best of your knowledge, have been launched against Israel? I believe that they reached close to 1,000. Is that correct?
I heard around 900, but you know, you might have a more.
930. Okay, close to 1,000. It's unreal. No other country would accept something like that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we have to stop talking about peace. They do not want peace. They were given 5 times the opportunity to have a state. And they were given 95% of what they wanted in 2005. They do not want this. They want the right of the return. That's what they are fighting for. They are using different words, like Joseph Goebbels said, the Minister of Propaganda to Hitler, a lie told long enough becomes truth. We have to become proactive and to tell them they don't want peace. They want, they are fighting for the right of return, which means there is no Jewish state. Okay, we have to become proactive. We can't be the propaganda, the PR, the Israeli PR was always bad. It's terrible, even today. I don't understand it.
So this is, again, my perspective, and I own this perspective. One of the things we do as a Jewish community is we believe in the two-state solution. We believe in two-state solution while the Palestinian community is not even talking about it. And this is the problem. As Sami said, we need to stop talking about it and go, Start listening to the Palestinians and actually showing what their statements are. It's no point us screaming, we believe in two-state solution. Now, I am one of those people who generally believes in it in some form. I genuinely believe in two-state solution. I do not want to ever hear the words two-state solution again unless I'm privately discussing it with Israelis in Hebrew, to be honest. I am not having one more serious discussion in my life, about the merits, pros, cons, how it should be done, all of that, ever again unless it's with Israelis in Hebrew, in a private space, because I am done with the conversation. It does not go anywhere. It is a brain drain on Jewish society, on Israeli society, and all for what? So we appear to be good Jews again. No. And the reality is, if we simply actually run, okay, you're telling us that we don't want peace. The mayor of Hebron is literally running political campaigns boasting about killing Jews. Okay, you're saying that we don't want peace, but let's just say, quoting Sammy's number, 1,000 rockets were launched at Israel in 2 days. But you say we don't want peace. Stop talking about peace. Actually start talking about what everyone else is doing. And I think we would get a lot further personally in the argument. And it would take away the ridiculous pressure and brain strain that's appearing on Israeli society going, oh my God, how are we supposed to get peace? We're not going to get it. We just had to basically just try and haggle through Egypt a ceasefire that PIJ broke within about 3 seconds. When is that going to sign? When is PIJ going to sign a peace deal? Stop talking about it. It's not going to happen. That's it. And if anything, reinforce the border, launch counter-strikes when necessary, and be done with it. And one more, if I have to see one more room going, how do we get the two-state solution? I think those people really need a good wake-up call, in my opinion. Really, really good wake-up call. And actually go and visit the Palestinian Authority areas or go and speak to their leaders through a broker. I think that is what realistically needs to happen.
Peace will come when Jews will be able to live wherever they want. If they can live in Iran, if they can live in Gaza, if they can live in Egypt. There are no more Jews in Egypt. There are no more Jews in Iraq. Okay, in Gaza we have 10,000. There are no Jews there. You cannot have peace if Jews are not allowed to live wherever they want. Why talk about, they don't talk about peace. Why do we have to talk about peace? I don't understand it. Well, okay, it's my personal opinion. I lived in Israel. I have been very voiceful when Sharon decided to move out from Gaza. I said that's the beginning of the end. People told me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a reactionary. You're blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I hope that I'm wrong. Unfortunately, I was right. And this was not the only time that I was against the Israeli government's policy, reacting to this. We created the problem with the Palestinians. We created it. We have to solve it, but don't solve it talking about peace. There will be peace if Jews are allowed to live in Gaza. That means that we can work together. Okay, we can be, neighbors and everything else. As long as Jews are not allowed to live there, okay, they're not allowed to live in other areas where the Palestinians are. Why talk about peace? It's totally unrealistic. Well, that's my personal opinion. I mean, who am I to say? What do I know, right?
The other thing is that where is all the Palestinian refugees? They're currently in Tel Aviv. I was very lucky to meet some of them, very privately and quietly. I was quite lucky to meet them. So we all say, how Israel is the bad one, how Israel doesn't want peace, how Israel is so racist. We're literally, we are taking in all the Palestinian refugees. We're taking in the journalists. We are taking in the LGBT Palestinians. We are taking in the disabled Palestinians and providing them medical care. Most people don't even know that we're taking in disabled Palestinians. that are regularly abused and used as soldiers by Hamas and used as soldiers in Gaza. Israel takes them in, gives them medical care, puts them in care homes and looks after them.
I have never heard that the fourth generation, the fifth generation of refugees are refugees. I have never heard of it. It's only with the Palestinians. Okay? Fifth, sixth generation, everybody's a refugee. Never heard of it. 1 million, okay, left in the Arab countries. Okay? Okay? There are no Jewish refugees. They were absorbed. Okay? We're a genocide country. Okay? There are more Arabs right now in Israel than it was before the formation of the State of Israel. How many Jews are there? In all of the Arab countries, in all of them, there are less than 4,000. Where is the genocide? Where is the apartheid? I don't understand Jewish people, leaders, okay, are using those words. It's unreal. And I said it before, and I'm saying it again, and then I'm going to stop. The enemy is us.
Yes, there's a red alert at Karam Shalom. Eugene, you want to come in quickly, and then we'll go to Samria's.
Yeah, just also thought about so many people from Palestine now live in America and criticize America for being so horrible, but for some reason they went to America and they don't see any problem with that. So it's just like, and America, European countries, so they hate the West, but somehow they don't appreciate that the West hosted them and helped them.
So we do have red alerts coming in. Just saying, we have red alerts coming in for Karim Shalom. From the first red alert, we've had no reports of impacts or injuries. The other thing I would just quickly add as well is, and again, this is my personal opinion, I own this, all of that. We have to also, in my opinion, for what that's worth, we also need to not only critically go back and look at this conflict in a, realistic light of actually what do the Palestinians want, what do they actually say, and they're quite open about it. But two, we have to also go back and really look at, for example, the Jews who were expelled during the Arab Muslim expulsions. The Jews who were expelled from Arab countries, the amount of land that they lost equals roughly the size of Florida. This whole state of Florida, that's how much land was lost. It's not currently known how much economic wealth was stolen, literally stolen from those Jews. It's not actually known. It's estimated to be in the tens of billions. Literally, you were not allowed, when you were forced to leave one night, you were forced out of the country, you were not allowed to take more than one suitcase and no cash. No money could leave the country. So yes, this is why the international community is not interested in recognizing Jewish refugees. They never were. The reality is that how much money would all the Arab countries have to start paying back to Israel and to the survivors? This is the reality. It's not in their political interest. They're not going to give back all that money. They're not going to give back all the land deeds.
And when they came to Israel, okay, the country was a new country, undeveloped. They were living, okay, for the rest of their lives in tents, many of them. Okay. There was not enough industry for people to work. Okay, people don't understand what Israel was. They see Israel today. Okay, people are forgetting about the history. That's what. When I My mission in life is to educate the next generation. So what I'm saying, I'm the only survivor, the only one that is talking about the evolution, the history, how the Holocaust has happened. How is it possible that ordinary people worldwide found it not only acceptable, but required to annihilate one group of Jews? And by learning from history, you can prevent future tragedies. We have to learn the history of Israel. What happened? People don't talk about it. They talk only about today. And what you see today did not happen suddenly. We have to look at the history. We have to talk about it. Okay. What can I say? I've said enough. I repeated myself, and I keep repeating it. But okay, I'm not in the government. We're talking just for a brief, to get out of the subject. Any news about Ilan Omar?
The primaries will be next Tuesday, and there is positive polling. So her political candidate, Don Samuels, has positive polling, saying that it is now a tight race between him and Ilan Omar, and he was backed by one of the largest newspapers in Minnesota.
Sounds good. Okay, happy to hear that. So hopefully he wins.
The other thing I'm just going to quickly come in and say is I really do suggest this. Look at all the countries that have expelled Jews since 1948 or had them forcibly leave in some way. And then you suddenly find out why it's so suddenly unpalatable that when we talk about Jewish refugees, that there is no talk at the UN. There's none. Literally just go and look at the number of countries that has expelled Jews after 1948. There's North Africa, the Middle East, Asia. Asia's actually expelled many, many Jews. You'll be surprised how many countries in Asia have expelled Jews.
England, too. Every country. Spain, every country.
Now, even modern era, I'm talking within post-1948, that is why no country wants to accept the idea of paying Jewish refugees except for Germany, because there would be a lot of countries that would suddenly have to start paying money to Israel for the refugees that have turned up, including...
I'm sorry, there was another country, and that is Romania. Okay, I got $238. Okay, which is basically, but financially, it's a slap in the face. However, what I did like about it is the fact that they recognized their role in the Holocaust. I don't know if any other country has admitted officially their role in the Holocaust. But the only country that I know personally is that Romania accepted its role. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, but there is no talk about paying for Jewish refugees. Generally, a one-off payment is not an actual refugee compensation program. That's a one-off payment, and many states do this to basically try and buy off legal responsibility. The reality is that every country is quite happy to ignore the question of the rights of Jewish refugees, because there's more of us than, Jewish refugees than you think in the world. And I'm not one of them, actually. I'm not a Jewish refugee. I apologize for phrasing it that way. But there's more Jewish refugees in the world than you would think. And in reality, this is why it goes absolutely quiet. It's not just the Arab League. It's actually about 8 countries in Asia as well that have, forcibly expelled Jews, including in Southeast Asia, since 1948, and they would have to start paying reparations as well. There are countries around the world that has expelled Jews, and they would have to start paying reparations. This is why no one wants to talk about it at the UN on the international stage, because they don't want to pay. And that's the reality, and that's one of the things that we have to come to terms with. And I think we have to start really talking about Jewish, the rights of Jews equally, and talking about what, Jews being expelled from North Africa, from the Middle East, from Southeast Asia, from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from Singapore. this is something I think we have to really start getting used to talking about, because it's actually a precedent in reality, and they're quite happy, these countries, to ignore it. You know, Malaysia is more than happy to ignore the fact that of the thousands of Jews they forcibly expelled, that then fled to Singapore, then they had to later leave Singapore, many of the Jews for a while. This is the reality. And it sets a really bad precedent, saying that, okay, you get to expel Jews, you get to expel Jews, you get to expel Jews, you get to kill Jews and expel them, and nothing will happen. It's a very, very bad precedent, actually, in the mind and in international law and in history, that we've just basically brushed all of that under the carpet.
And nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about the Israelis. Okay, don't emphasize that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. PR is very, very bad. Okay, but you have a very good point. Okay, we have to talk about those things. Okay.
Sorry, I have my name called, and it's a bit of a I don't know who speaks to me while I look at a screen, different screen. Who? Then was it you, Afra?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the thought or idea of the Israeli, government, people in power, PR, to do a campaign where there was some type of really speaking to all Jews around the world to support Israel, that this is what we're dealing with, this is what we're trying to do, and to unite the Jews around the world to a more, I don't know exactly how to word it, but I think that if there was a push at all, or in any encouragement from the Israeli government officials and the residents, perhaps like some type of a PR campaign, right, where they're really speaking to the Jews of the world, and like all of the power that the Jews have in the U.S., and there's lots of them that are in Congress, there's lots of them, that are in the United States federal, government. If there was some way where Israel did a gathering and a pulling in of the Jews across the world in unity and solidarity to fight for our right of Israel, explaining our position, but being very firm in that we will never give in to what is happening, and we're not leaving. And I just wonder if that would allow for an empowerment amongst the Jewish community, for us to really be in solidarity and understanding how imperative and essential and our God-given right to be in Israel it is. And I don't know, this could just be like a ridiculous or out there idea, but I think that type of a community and coming from Israel itself would, I don't know, for me, I think it would really encourage a lot of us to wake up a little bit more, and be aware of what's really going on, and making sure that when we're voting, and really, we do have the ability to promote our side of this story, and we need to get more aggressive, in my opinion, on that. Like, we need to take a firmer grasp on how society is portraying what's happening over there. And if there was any ability for that to happen, I think it would be a tremendous benefit for the entire Jewish community and all of us that do support Israel, even though we're not there. And even for a calling, to possibly, I'm not saying everyone leave where they're from, but, come see what's going on, see the reality, see the truth of it. I don't know. I'll stop there, but I just was curious what maybe anyone else thought about that idea.
There is a load of different organizations doing different things, and I'll DM you after this room, and I'll do a room about it generally. It's a tricky one because there is always the accusation of dual loyalties, which Israel is very, very aware of. People who work within Israel's foreign ministry, within outreach, the sort of general Israeli outreach to the diaspora, are very aware of this accusation, and they are very aware that could really fuel anti-Semitism very strongly. So it's a very push-pull, very difficult situation. There are loads of generally really good charities out there to engage with and organizations which are Israeli, and I will DM you privately after this room with a list that you can be involved with, and I will do a room on it at some point. Sami said something correct, and I really agree with him. Jews really can sometimes be their own worst enemy and hold themselves up to a different standard. If there was 1 million people expelled from any other community, Jews would be rioting in the streets. Literally, I'm not making that up. There's about 1 million Jews who have been expelled from countries since 1948, and their suffering has never been recognized. From at least about 30 countries now around the world. It's never been recognized. They'll never receive compensation, and their artifacts are literally either being destroyed or they're being held by other countries. It's that simple. And if this was happening to if this was happening to another community, I know Jews would be holding rooms, they would be holding charitable events, but when it happens to Jews themselves, it's just a lot quieter. And the other thing is, this is my opinion, and this is my opinion. The other major thing that the Jewish community does, which I think is not always helpful to itself, is there's this sort of fetishization of the infighting. And this is why we've got 1,000,001 organizations, and we all treat each other really negatively. And we've not come to terms with that either, I think. It's like the 1,000,001 organizations where we all sort of fight each other for no apparent reason. And it just never made any sense to me, and still doesn't. And I can't for the life of me figure out why we've got such petty infighting all the time in the community when there are bigger problems we have to deal with.
Oh, well, yes, I completely agree with that. Thank you.
We have red alerts currently happening at the following locations: Ein HaChalosha. And there's been a red alert issued for Ein HaShalosha. I've spoken so much today, I'm starting to lose my voice. Ein HaShalosha.
I think you meant to say Ein HaShlosha.
Does anyone else want to come in or add anything or come up on stage?
Yeah, thank you for sharing the recent information about expelling Jews from Arab countries after World War II. I checked Wikipedia. I didn't know about that.
This is something I'm going to say, and it's going to be deeply unpopular. That's a fault on my community. Really, it's, we cannot trust anyone to carry the memory of our own suffering. We wouldn't trust Germany, the German government, to carry the memory of the of what happened in the Holocaust. We have to carry that. We are the ones who have to, uphold Yad Vashem as a community, because to anyone else's hands, it can be manipulated, it can be warped, it can be denied the memory of the Holocaust. We are not adequately upholding the memory of what has happened to North African Jews, Middle Eastern Jews, Jews in Asia, Jews in Africa that were persecuted. Most people are not aware that, and there's even unfortunately a significant amount of Jews are not aware that when the Nazis invaded North Africa, Jews were sent to the camps. And Jews, for example, in Tripoli, were deported and sent to Auschwitz and killed. People are not aware that the feuds was incited by Nazi propaganda and is a part of the Holocaust, or that Ethiopian Jews openly record that at the time of the Holocaust, the Italian forces massacred 2 Jewish villages in Ethiopia. Just wiped out and gone. Hundreds of Ethiopian Jews were killed. We have to carry the memory of what happens to our people. We can't trust other people to do it. And I do believe, and I have said this in softer language, I do believe we are sometimes failing to do that. And that's my opinion. I'm going to suggest we wait to the third ceasefire update, which is now going to be at 11:30 Jerusalem time. So that is in about 1 hour away. After that, what I'm going to suggest is that we will probably close down this room. We'll wait a few minutes to see if the ceasefire holds, and then we'll likely close this room because I have been running it since about for about 14 hours. Does anyone else want to come in and add anything?
Does that mean I have to keep this room open for at least another hour so we can watch if the ceasefire holds?
This is a message to Avra. Avra, I heard you speak in a room about a week ago or so, and I tried to back channel you. I think my message is in the back channel request section, and you need to respond to that so that to move it to the chats area so that we can communicate.
You need to respond to that, Avra. You need to. What if she doesn't want to fucking respond to you, David Rosenberg?
Thanks.
Does anyone want to come in and add anything?
This is a very general comment. It seems that Israel is inhibited by the international community and the West generally from actually completing its work in dealing with terrorists. And what happens is that there are terrorist attacks, and Israel pushes back far enough to get to a ceasefire, but not far enough to really totally defeat the terrorists. Presumably for fear that the UN or somebody else is going to accuse Israel of being too aggressive if it tries to put a permanent end to the terrorism. And I think Israel needs to be braver and actually put a total stop to terrorism against Israel by totally defeating the terrorists. Thank you.
We have red alerts at Nareem and Ain HaShalosha.
Why does he have such a problem with that word? Ein HaShalosha. That's it. You don't have to go sloshing around.
Does anyone want to come in?
I figure the next hour is just going to be a lot more of just waiting around. So, to make it more interesting, if you'd like to join in the discussion about this, maybe just sort of in my Discord, we can hang out, watch the stream, watch the Clubhouse, and see what emerges out of that, really, because we might not want to discuss this forever, especially if the ceasefire does hold. We can just sort of morph into just a Discord discussion room. What do you think about that? So I think that's what we're gonna do. At least that's the plan. How's the background audio of the music? Because there's a lot of dead air. Is that loud enough? Seems to be. I think I shouldn't really have the music going when I talk, only when the room talks or when the Clubhouse talks. So, look at this. Look at this announcement. 47 people taken to hospitals. 31 who fell. Okay, so 3 people were likely hurt by rocket shrapnel and 31 who fell while running to shelter. This is going to happen in a neighborhood near you. If your neighbors start lobbing rockets at you with no regard for accuracy or for human safety, just like is happening from Gaza into innocent Israel. So 13 people are going to be treated for anxiety in your neighborhood when the rockets start falling. And there will be an unconscious 74-year-old woman taken to hospital as well when the rockets start falling on your neighborhood. Think about that. Now, several people were treated after falling over and for anxiety, but did not require hospitalization. So just imagine the human toll these fucking rockets from Gaza are taking on your neighborhood. Because this is the fight for freedom right here. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fighting for freedom.
Okay. So, we don't have that much longer to go until we find out about the ceasefire.
Yes, we do.
Does anyone else want to come in or add anything?
I put in the room chat a link to a piece by Vic Rosenthal about why why a two-state solution isn't possible, and it talks about accepting the reality of what is possible. I think it's worth reading.
So we're just currently waiting for the ceasefire. So at this stage, we can wait in silence, and we'll see if it occurs in about 50 minutes.
There is very disappointing divisiveness in the governments of a number of countries. I'm an American living in the U.S., and our government is badly divided between right and left and has difficulty accomplishing anything because of that. And I find that frustrating, and I find it equally frustrating how divided the Israeli government is. Israel would be much better off if it had a united government that could speak with one voice rather than having politicians who seem to, if not entirely hate each other, at least be in violent disagreement with each other. It makes it much more difficult for a unified position to be expressed.
Correct. That's up to the people now when the new elections are coming up. But according to the polls, it seems that they have remained as divided as they were before. Except that right now there are different small parties are trying to merge to form a coalition, and that may change the equation. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've been reading the same polls, and I continue to be very disappointed at the fact that Israel can't get its act together. America also can't get its act together. There are similar difficulties in the UK. We need a more unified view, but there's nothing that I can think of that I can do about it other than bitch, which doesn't help very much.
So there are a lot of very complicated reasons that go into the division in Israel, and a simple one is Bibi or not to Bibi, that is the Bibi in questioning. And if Netanyahu was to step down, there could be a coalition formed straight away. Likud is not going to force Netanyahu out anyway. So we're at this impasse, and that is the problem.
Yeah, a problem with almost all politicians in almost all countries, it seems, is that they seem to put more value on their personal careers and their personal finances and their personal situation than they do on the good of the country that they're trying to lead. I think Lapid was perhaps a counterexample of that, of allowing Bennett to have the first turn at the prime ministership. But there aren't, well, I'm not positive about what was going on with him, but that seemed to be an altruistic act. And there are a few other examples of that.
Anyway, we're at the 45-minute mark. We will learn if the ceasefire is successful. We'll learn at the 45-minute mark. This is the third deadline that we have received.
You're counting the first deadline as being 8 o'clock and the second deadline as being midnight, and then the third deadline being 11:30. Is that how you're?
Yes. Sveta, you're back. Welcome to the dark side again.
Thanks, Bjorn.
Vincent escaped, but now he's decided to come back anyway. So, just to do a quick room reset, we are waiting for the ceasefire deadline, which is supposed to happen in 45 minutes. Does anyone want to come in and add anything? So we are just currently waiting to see what happens with the deadline, and also as well, it's just important to mention this is the third deadline that we have received today, so we have to be very critical of it and not raise our hopes up too high. How are you, Vincent? You came back to my room fast enough? Oh, he's ignoring me now. Does anyone else want to come up on stage and anything as we wait for the deadline? So just to quickly also mention, again, check me out on Telegram where I've posted the details for all the Israeli charities you can support that support vulnerable Israelis. And even if you can't donate, you can post them on social media. And also the other thing to mention is as well, I will be, if the deadline doesn't hold, I will open another room tomorrow, carrying on sharing news and information about what's happening. I hold these rooms normally every day in the evening, 9 o'clock Jerusalem time. And also just to quickly mention as well, I post about the news continually on Telegram with live updates. So, just as we wait for this new deadline, just to also quickly mention, there is parting with Uri. This is obligatory and mandatory, and he will arrange somewhere nice to go.
Yeah, I will. Sure.
Hey, I thought, party.
Oh, yeah. So I want to let people know in the room that have never lived in Israel and have never lived in the South that not every apartment building has a safe room. My apartment building does not. My ex-wife does, so I was there with my kids today for the rest of the day, and now I'm at my parents who also have a safe room, but my apartment doesn't. So for people that don't have a safe room, there's two options. You can either you go to the stairwell, which is semi-safe, or you can try to find maybe a safe room or a bunker nearby, but not every place has that. So for a lot of Israelis that live in older buildings, it's actually not as simple as just going to another room. It's actually going outside, going somewhere else that could be far away, and sometimes you have to run there because you only have a certain amount of time to get to the shelter before the rockets hit. Actually, a lot of injuries and stuff that have been reported in the past, I heard, is just people actually falling on the way to the bomb shelter rather than actually getting hit by a rocket.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That is quite common. I mean, that accounts for the majority of injuries.
I have an idea. What is your idea, Sydney? I'm glad you
I think that's why the Home Front Command put out a new graphic stating you must keep the area, the hallways to your mamad clear.
my idea is still in my head before I release it. I think I'm good. All right, so what I want to do is stop music right now, because what I want to do is have a break until we've got quite a bit of time to watch T-Jump's video with Nicholas Whitmire. What a dumpster fire this turned out to be. Nicholas Whitmire, I've covered a couple of times. Yesterday I think I did one. Check this one out.
And okay, so I have an idea of what I want to present to you. I've written some things. So and then you can grill me on them. So with that, I guess we're ready to get started if you are.
Cool. I'm live on my end, so.
Oh, you're a little bit, is my volume quiet? No, you're a little bit quiet.
I don't know. It sounds fine on my end, I think. Is there a way to increase audio?
Yeah, let me see about
Testing.
that. So
it doesn't give me one of those little bar thingies on my side that I can just increase.
It has you automatically adjusted, so let's test now.
Oh wait, testing.
Okay, I'm going to turn you up.
It says
it has you at full volume now. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay. And then, oops.
I think he just closed himself out. What is up, Moon Shoes? Happy Friday. It is Friday.
Oh, I clicked stop instead of edit. Whereas, okay, it's arranged differently for me because it's my own studio.
Gotcha.
So I just need to turn down my audio some so that I'm not a whole lot louder than you. And I'm just going to estimate it right there, and that should be good. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and begin. We'll do whatever other introductions in front of the audience. There we go. And I think I don't. Oh, I can still do overlays. Okay. And I have. Oh, nope, I can't do overlays because I don't have a plan paid for right now. Okay. Well, I know what I'll do. I'll screen share the image. So let's get started, and I'll get that ready as we go. We are about to be live. Welcome all, and shalom, brothers and sisters. We have the reputable T-Jump, Tom Jump, with us. And yeah, thank you for inviting me to do this live stream with you. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
And here, let me open the image and do what I do. And go ahead and introduce yourself while I do that and say hello.
I am T-Jump. I have a YouTube channel where I grow potatoes, different kinds of potatoes. Yorkshire are my favorite potato. They are the best kind of potato, objectively. And I grow cheese, lots of cheeses, mostly craft. Grow craft cheese. That's what I do.
Okay, and for those in my audience who might not know of T-Jump, some of my Reformed brothers and sisters, he is a down-to-earth yet deep philosopher and a debater, and the sort of ultimate immovable object of a skeptic, one might say, is how I would characterize his debating. And let's see, how is screen share going? There it is. So he is going to grill me on why I believe the gospel. And we're actually going to go really deep here, though.
You're really deep.
I warned Jeff. I don't know
watch
if he
the dumpster
passed the
fire.
message on to you, but I'm going to take a very spiritual approach, and you'll see what that is as we get into it.
Oh, wait.
So I have a good amount to read to you. I'm going to read pretty quick and kind of ask for your cooperation to get started. We have a 2-hour time slot here, so hopefully this introduction part won't take too much of it, and then we can really engage with that. So let me get the text on screen.
Spoiler alert.
Let's see here.
Spoiler
And
alert.
anyone in the comment
It's
section, let
not
me
gonna
know
take
if I'm too
nearly
quiet. I wanted to balance
2
my
hours.
volume with
20
Tom's,
minutes
so I turned
tops.
mine down some so that hopefully they're about the same volume. And let me go ahead and do one last thing. That's just the live stream and session do not disturb sign.
I feel like you just like select all and then say read aloud.
Oh, you're talking about on the screen here?
Yeah, that's what I normally do. Whenever I have like text, I just click it all and make Word read it for me. Siri, read this.
What I want to do is take away these annoying marks. That'll
Misspelled
be very
Camish.
fast. Yeah, I don't know how his name's spelled or if it just doesn't know his name. But I don't know if you know who Paul Camish is off the top of your head, but he's a really a good atheist friend of ours. He's a British man and a pilot, and so I don't know if that rings a bell.
Nope. I think he did a modern day debate. Something, maybe.
Yeah, I think he did one. He doesn't usually debate, but I do think he did a debate somewhere at one point. And okay, so here's what I have to say to you, Tom. You're not going to like it. So here we go. And I'll make it just a little bit bigger. There
This
we
is
go.
going to be the
Tom,
most
you have
annoying
never
thing
faced
you've ever heard.
Christianity in combat before.
Not true.
But I intend to provide you that opportunity. In every case that I have ever known of, unbelievers will cosplay as if to fight Christianity, but they are not interested in the actual fight. I have managed to bring the champion Christianity before Paul Camish once, and he didn't know what to do with such a foe. Christianity is gustly, that's spiritual. And if one does not face that gustiness, that spirituality, as the opponent, then one does not face Christianity as an opponent. In order to engage with unbelievers, many Christians will bring a surrogate opponent before the unbeliever. This may be an evidential argument, or it may be a philosophical one, and either way, it makes the cross of Christ to be of no effect. And therefore, it is to fail to provide the actual opponent and fight, which is Christianity. So I'm not asking you to agree, but do you follow what I'm saying? That evidential arguments and
I don't follow
philosophical
any of that.
arguments do not bring the actual opponent to you?
Nope, I have no idea what that means because it seems like those would be the things we would need.
Okay, well, I am going to do a good amount of prep here to make that more clear. So
You
that's
said
a
you're going to be
sufficient answer.
concise, Nicholas.
Preachers strive to bring that actual opponent, Christianity, before unbelievers, but they don't know how to prepare the unbeliever to comprehend the opponent and the fight. So, Tom, if you will allow me, I am going to prepare you to enter the arena, and then I will attempt to convey the opponent, and then you may begin to fight. This is not a fight that is fought in an hour or in a day or in a week. If you want to refute Christianity, should be a comma, you'll need to do better than cosplay. And just so you know, that's not personal to you. That's just a matter of the topic. To fight against the greatest champion of all is not for everyone. It is a huge investment, and it will destroy your very personhood and defeat you, and you will become a Christian. The insistence that the fight is a mere absurdity is the defense mechanism of the fearful cowardice of the unbeliever. So that's because you don't want what I just said to happen to you, the destroying of your personhood and becoming a Christian. So
What a
you'll
bunch
need a
of
defense mechanism,
gobbledygook
which will
gibberish.
be to consider everything I am saying to you to just be absurd. Indeed, the unbeliever is deluded into believing that the fight is a mere absurdity. If you can be brave, then I can offer that fight to you. But it is a fight which you cannot win. Every thought of your mind will urge to turn to the defense mechanism, to write off what I am going to present to you. If you dare to be brave, you must first let me bring you to the arena, and then to the champion whom you claim to slay. So here's where I'm going to be asking you to bear with me and entertain me in this before you're just disregarding it and wait until it's there to then fight against it. And from your
I haven't heard anything
perspective,
yet. I haven't heard anything to fight against yet.
yeah, we're not there yet. And this will probably
We never
seem
get
to
there.
you, from your perspective, perhaps like the easiest sort of fight, or maybe you'll actually notice the entrance to the rabbit hole and go down it. So this will be interesting to see what happens. The champion Christianity is not the mere cosplay which so-called apologists have played with you before. In order for you to face this champion, you must first fight against your own defense mechanisms. You must first be a good listener and listen deep enough to get into the arena and to get toe-to-toe and face-to-face with your rival, whom you have never seen before. Tom, can you dare to resist your urge to resort to ignorance? And by ignorance, I mean ignoring, if that makes sense.
I have no idea what you're presenting, so I can't really say one way or the other. I need an argument.
Well, then I am asking you to, well, I think I'm making it clear, so I'll continue. Or will you merely write off what I am striving to convey before you, or will you merely write off what I am striving to convey before you have even understood it in the depth of what it is? We are about to find out. Okay, so I guess I wasn't supposed to really ask you that. That was rhetorical. But anyway, I will leave you no excuses, and I will not lie to you. If you resort to defense mechanisms, then you will hate what I have to say about that. That hate is the pure pressure to which all so-called apologists succumb. They play the cosplay because otherwise they will be denied any engagement. And so, Tom, I thank you for being here, because other people who have some idea of what my approach is, they just deny me engagement. So this should be very interesting and not quite like how you've ever had it presented before. So resist the urge to write me off prematurely and dare to face the Steelman Christianity. Please note that while my words are going to be incredibly confrontational, I am not attempting to debate you nor to prove anything. Rather, I am attempting to offer you the opportunity to confront your opponent. If you want to attempt to be the God Slayer, then let me help you out here. Okay, and then
Still haven't heard anything to address so far. No evidence. No nothing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to take an evidential approach, but I am getting close to explaining to you what the approach is going to be. So pay very close attention so that you may comprehend what I am about to tell you. Before you can disagree, you must comprehend. And so far, you're very agreeable with that. I appreciate that. Before you can defeat your opponent, you must come toe-to-toe and face-to-face with him. Let me say, Tom, I respect you when you fight the fight, and I cannot blame you for the fact that no one has ever brought this fight before you, or brought this fight to you before. And let me see. Oh yeah, it looks like there's a couple people inside chat. Just let me know if I'm too quiet, because I'm using a quieter volume than usual. And let me continue. And the text will get bigger later on. Sorry I didn't do a better size.
Well, we could have just skipped like everything that you've said so far. Can we just skip straight to like an argument of some kind, or because you need some way to show that Christianity isn't just a figment of human imagination. That's And to do that, you're going to need some kind of evidence.
Yeah, so I am giving you the opportunity that you haven't gotten before, and it is important that I'm very clear what that is. So this has been rather important, this part of the introduction.
None of it, absolutely none of that was important, because I mean, the only thing that you need is provide some reason to think Christianity isn't a figment of people's imagination, and none of the things you presented are that.
Okay, well, when I you see there's it's just a few short words is the entire argument, and that is Christ and him crucified. But
and how does that show it's not a figment of human imagination?
Yeah, so that's where you see this is sort of a matter of giving you an opportunity to internally critique.
Well, I don't need any opportunities. I need, is this figment of human imagination, yes or no, plus why? That's all I need.
Okay, well, I can only present what is actually the Christian thing to present, and I know you're asking for something else.
What?
And so that's why I'm taking the required efforts to help you understand that distinction, so that then you may choose
I have no idea
engage with it.
what you're saying right now. So, like, if Christianity is true, true means corresponds to reality and not just a figment of imagination. And so then you need to say, if Christianity is true, here is how we would know that it corresponds to reality and isn't just a figment of our imagination.
Yeah, well, we're about to get to some meat and potatoes. I do want to, there's some context I'm about to set here that I think is the segue into the meat and potatoes. And so if I continue here, we'll get there pretty quick at this point. I twice listened to T-Jump Brutally Destroyed by Jack, Angstrike, Minions, Physicalism, and Objective Morality Debate. And they did not destroy you, but rather you stood strong. Do you remember that debate?
Yes.
Okay, because in fact, you stood as a hero for atheism, and they were demeaning atheism down to a mere semantic wordplay. They were granting the supernatural and then using fancy terminology as a mere costume to play like they don't believe in anything supernatural. They never defeated your CD analogy, by which you asserted physicalism. How can they think they won that exchange? Well, it's because intuition blatantly declares the truth, and the truth is God himself. They strive to deny God because they are attached to their own egos. John chapter 3 explains this matter with explicit clarity. The light has arrived unto the order, and the humans loved the darkness more than the light because their works had been toilsome. Because he who is practicing flaw hates the light and does not come toward the light, so that his works may not be refuted and corrected. As yet, he who achieves the truth comes toward the light, so that his works may be made obvious in this manner, that they are having been worked in God. You also strive to deny God because you are also attached to your own ego. Every darkness dweller needs a defense mechanism against the light. Theirs is mere semantic wordplay, and so it is nothing.
Well, literally everything you've done is nothing but semantic wordplay. I need why not imagination?
Well, we're getting there. This is the segue, like I just said. So, Tom, your defense mechanism is solipsism, if I'm understanding right. Well,
no.
As we get into the analogy here, we'll dig into that a little bit. It is absurdity, and it is to deny what intuition proves. So, do you have any understanding of what I mean, that the reason they think they won the debate, even though you actually won it,
I don't care. Like,
is because of a matter of intuition?
Don't care. Not relevant to anything.
Okay, well, I'll demonstrate how this is.
Don't demonstrate. I don't care. I just want, show me Christianity isn't a figment of people's imagination. Nothing you're saying is in any way relevant to the topic. Literally nothing you've said. I've just been playing chess and pretending I care to all what you're, like, nothing you've said is relevant. 0% of what you said is relevant.
Well, you don't understand what is relevant because you're in darkness instead of light, but I'm trying to be helpful.
You're not.
And so
I do understand. I explained to you. So I explained to you what is relevant. What is relevant is show Christianity isn't a figment of your imagination. Anything that can do that is relevant. Nothing you presented can do that, so nothing you presented is relevant. And so making ad homs doesn't help.
I'm going to establish the merit of intuition. Do you think intuition has any merit?
Towards some things, like conceptual things, yes. Does intuition tell us about reality independent of our imagination? No.
Okay, so that's where I'm going to use math here as an analogy. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of this, because in order for me to present an intuitive argument, which is the correct argument, is according to spiritual intuition.
Math has absolutely nothing to do with intuition. It corresponds to reality.
Okay, so I have the question written here. Why do I believe arithmetic? Okay, so that's a rhetorical question. Why do I believe arithmetic? Arithmetic was, so this relates to why I believe the gospel. Arithmetic was demonstrated to me in a way that made the obviousness of its factuality apparent to me. This was a logical matter, yet my learning of it heavily involved intuition. It was about a decade later when I learned proofs in geometry. Those proofs were based on semantic and syntactic conventions applied to demonstrated quantities. So the demonstration, I think, relates to what you say about corresponding with reality. And then intuitive, unprovable axioms were applied to those conventions. And from there, we proved complex math. According to this, math is unproven because it is based on mere conventions and unprovable axioms. Do you believe math to be an accurate model of the relationships of quantities and portions?
It's been demonstrated to it, so I believe it because there's evidence.
Okay, so you believe it because it's been demonstrated.
Yeah.
So you're taking an evidential approach, not a logical proof approach?
Yes.
Okay. So we see that something as objectively obvious as math requires intuitive granting of unprovable facts. To reject math is foolishness.
No, it doesn't. So that's false.
Okay, well, as a matter of logical syllogism, it does.
No, it doesn't. That's false.
Because you're referring to scientific testing, which is a different system than logical syllogism.
Neither of them do. So, I mean, it seems like you're making an argument that a God of the gaps fallacy or a tu quoque fallacy of, there's something we have to take. We have to believe math on faith. Therefore, it's reasonable to believe the Bible on faith. Like, no.
No. What I'm doing right now is I need a footing, and the footing is the merit of the intuitive. And then as far as the evidence, that also does come into the picture. For instance, that Lord Jesus is referred to as the Lord of glory, and glory, glory means apparentness of excellency. So Lord of glory means the Lord of having his own excellency be apparent. This means both that he is Lord from the fact, as a result of the fact that his excellency is so very apparent, and also that he is the ultimate of having one's own excellency be apparent.
Well, I can just prove it's false because it's not apparent to the vast majority of the people on the planet. So if God was the Lord of excellency, which is apparent to everyone, and it's not apparent to everyone, then it's clearly false.
Well, that's an appeal to consensus.
No, it's an internal contradiction. So if you're saying that Jesus is the Lord of being apparent and he's not apparent, then that means that he's not Lord.
Well, that would be like if everyone, let's say you were blind and the majority of humans were blind, and then you were to say that when I say that sunlight is apparent, your argument is that, well, sunlight is not apparent because the majority of us don't see it. Well, that's proof of your blindness according to an internal critique. So it's not an internal contradiction. We have an answer to that.
Well, no, because that would then prove Jesus false, because he's apparent to the people he's apparent to, which means he's not apparent. That's what it means. So you can't, it's begging the question to say Jesus is the Lord of being apparent to the people he's apparent to. And that means
So
he's
are
Lord of
you
nothing.
saying that the sunlight is not apparent, that the daytime is not apparent? Is
No,
that
it is apparent because most people can see it. That's what apparent means.
No, apparent doesn't necessarily refer to appeal to consensus. Like I said, if over half of humanity were blind, the daytime would still be
apparent
apparent.
means clear or visible. So if the majority of people couldn't see it, then it would not be clear or visible. So like X-rays are not apparent. Some percentage of human beings, there's a genetic modification in some women who can see an extra dimension of light. But that's not apparent to everyone. It's just a very select few who can see it. So no, but I'm still not hearing like an argument of some kind. Like absolutely none of it is an argument.
Yeah, I didn't say that I was going to come and do a debate, but I was going to let you grill me on why I believe was the way that it was framed to me. And that's what I'm going for. And you seem to be trying to get me to engage it in a way which is not the Christian way to engage it. And if you do that, then you're not facing the opponent because you're deeming the opponent to be irrelevant, which is fine, but then you're just not engaging the Christian topic. And that is why I have gone through lengths, because I know that you're a deep, well-established thinker. And so I am going through lengths to help you out with that.
What you're saying, so like
of all of that.
you can believe for whatever reason you want to believe. You can believe because you fart pixies or whatever. I don't care why you believe. What I care about is it true? That's what I'm interested in. I don't care why you believe.
Okay, and then the mic volume goes all over the place. I'm just turning myself up a little bit because you're getting a little bit louder now, which is a good thing. Okay, well, you see, I'm trying to give you the opportunity to...
Well, stop trying to give me the opportunity and actually just give me a reason to think it's true.
Well, you don't have reason to think it's true. The Bible says so. So if you're talking about an internal...
So if there's no reason to think it's true, then by definition, you should not think it's true.
Well, there is reason for the spiritually transformed person to think it's true. You have no reason to think it's true. And
so when I ask for a reason to think it's true, I mean a reason that gives us anybody, you, me, anybody, a justification to think it's not a figment of our imagination.
No, sorry, but you just told me that because it's not the majority of people that it's apparent to, that it doesn't count. Now you're saying
that's
anybody.
Just the definition of apparent.
Anybody,
so,
that's already what I was doing.
Stop. So that's the definition of apparent. If only a small portion of people can see it, then it's not apparent to most people. But that's irrelevant to evidence. So I need evidence. Even evidence can be evidence for just you. It doesn't matter if it's visible to everybody else. If you have novel testable predictions that demonstrate that God is real, that would be evidence for you, but you'd still need to provide some reason for anybody, you, me, anybody, to think it's not a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, so there are plenty of people who understand the reason very clearly. It is you who does not understand.
Well, that's great. Tell me what the reason is.
Let me clarify the semantics of apparent. I think that would help this step here.
I don't care about the semantics of apparent. Tell me what the reason is.
Well, you use the semantics of apparent to shoot me down. So now I care about the semantics of apparent, and I need to clarify that.
Bring up a reason to believe Christianity isn't a figment of human imagination. That's what I want to hear. I don't care about any of the semantics of any of the things you said, because literally none of it was relevant. Why believe Christianity isn't a figment of human imagination made up by a bunch of goat herders 2,000 years ago?
Well, it sounds like you want to engage with something other than Christianity. And if that's the case, I don't know why you invited to have a discussion with me.
Wait, no, that is Christianity. So is Christianity true? You have to answer the question. Here's a reason to think Christianity is not made up by human imagination from goat herders. Those are literally...
Yeah, but you're trying to have me do it according to an unchristian standard. Then I would be outside of the Christian topic, and that would defeat the whole purpose.
What? I don't know what that means. So, like, if you're
Yeah, but I'm
saying
trying to help you know what that
if you're
means. You
trying to
see, I'm the
prove,
authority on
wait.
Christianity, not you,
So if
because
you're
I am
trying,
in the
one sec.
spirit and
So
I am an expert.
one sec. So if you're trying to prove Christianity by using Christianity, that's called circular reasoning. We know that doesn't work. We can just prove deductively that is failed reasoning. You can't do that. You lose. So if you're trying to say Christianity is true and I'm going to use Christianity to prove Christianity, well, that means you've lost.
Well, we use reality to prove reality, right? We use existence to prove existence.
No.
And we can do it by observing existence, but we're still leaning
we're
on
not.
existence to prove existence, or else you're a solipsist.
No, that's wrong. My direct experience is an object that does exist. And so my direct experience isn't like an argument. There's no premise. Direct experience is not a premise. It's a fact. It's something that literally exists. So if an object exists directly, you directly experience it. Great. That's great. Do we have direct experience of Jesus, do you think?
Oh, definitely. So he is the light that has arrived into the world. So
Okay,
may
where is
I
that? How do I directly
citizen,
experience Jesus?
well, may I as the one with the burden of proof, may I attempt to convey what I intend to argue on my terms? Is that okay with you?
Well, literally, you spent how many minutes? 30 minutes saying gibberish that had literally nothing to do with the topic. So, I
It
mean,
has
just
everything to do with the topic. You're the one who
no,
doesn't understand.
no, the topic is give me a reason to think Christianity isn't a figment of people's imagination. Nothing in the past 30 minutes has provided that.
Well, that when I agreed to this, that wasn't the way it was framed up. I was told that you would give me space to say what I need to, and you do a good job listening, and that I would tell you why I believe, and we would talk about that. And I did the thumbnail that you would grill me on why I believe the gospel, not why I think you should believe the gospel. So,
Well, if you're just telling me why you believe, I don't
you're
care.
just
I don't care why you believe. You can believe for whatever reason you want. It makes you happy. That's fine. Like if you can just say it makes me happy, and I'm like, okay.
I'm just telling you
Topic
what I
over.
agreed to, because you're telling me the topic's one thing, but you sent an agent to me who had me agree to a different topic than what you're saying. And so I'd like you to be patient to the agreement that was made on your behalf and honor that.
Yeah,
And let
typically when
me
someone says
continue
what
with what I'm doing.
reasons you believe, they're not things of just opinion. Like if you believe because you like it, that's fine. There's nothing to grill you on. If all you have is your subjective feelings, that's fine. There's nothing to grill you on there. That's just your subjective feelings. You're irrational for believing that. If you think it's justified in any reason, but you can, it's totally fine. So if you would need to say, are your reasons purely your subjective feelings? If they are, that's fine. I have nothing to grill you on. If your reasons actually provide a justification to believe it's true, then that would be what I'm interested in.
Well, okay, but I'm not asking you to make this about what you're interested in. I'm asking you to live up to the agreement that you sent someone to make with me. So if I may read the agreement, he said, "Hi there. Would you be open to having an online discussion with Tom Jump about why you are a Christian, and more specifically, why you believe in Christianity is true?"
Yes.
And then he
True.
said,
What
"Tom
does
is an
true
atheist
mean?
who's deeply interested in religion,
What
theology, and philosophy."
does true mean? What does the word true mean?
Jesus Christ.
No. Can you show me the dictionary which gives that definition?
No, I'm disagreeing with the dictionary.
Well, so if someone sends you an email, you have to accept their definition. So what is Jeff's definition of true in that email?
Oh, so why I believe Christianity is true. Okay. I'll hang with you there. That's fine. I was just answering your question when you asked it. So, but it's why I believe Christianity is true.
Yeah,
It's
so
not.
when Jeff said why you believe Christianity is true, what did Jeff mean by that word true?
Well, I think, the part I'm dwelling on is why I believe Christianity is true. You're trying to change it to why I think you should be convinced Christianity
No,
is
no, no,
true.
no, no.
And that's not what I agreed to.
When a person asks you a question, you have to use all of their definitions. They get to tell you what they mean. So when Jeff asked you a question, why do you believe Christianity is true? All of those words are Jeff's definition. You don't get to define any of those words because the answer you're responding to is Jeff's question. If you change the definition of any of those words, it's called a straw man fallacy. So what you need to do is you need to answer the question Jeff asked. Why do you believe Christianity corresponds to reality and is not a figment of your imagination? Because that's what true means. Corresponds to reality, not a figment of your imagination. That's
Okay,
what
so I
true
can
means.
agree with that. The place is that it's why I believe it, but you're trying to change it to why.
Why do
I
you
think
believe
should be compelled to agree.
Christianity? Why do you believe Christianity corresponds to reality and is not a figment of your imagination?
Yeah, and it's okay if you think my reason is stupid, but I agreed to give my reason.
What is the
and you
reason? Just
keep-
tell me any reason. Nothing you've said so far has given me a reason of why you think Christianity corresponds to reality and is not a figment of your imagination. That's the part I've been looking for. That's what I've been waiting for the whole time.
Yeah, so the next sentence he said was that you're deeply interested, but as I try to go deep with it,
With the
you're
truth.
saying that that's a waste of time.
No, I'm deeply interested in the truth, and the truth is what corresponds to reality, not a figment of your imagination. That's what I'm deeply interested in. So again, you need to answer the question.
Says you don't think religion's true, do you? It says
Religion
Tom is
is-
an atheist who's deeply interested in religion, theology,
Religion
and
is a thing. It definitely exists. But again, this has nothing to do with the topic. So why do you think Christianity corresponds to reality and is not a figment of your imagination?
And it says he's rigorous and skeptical.
Why do you
but
keep
also
reading the question?
open-minded and
Stop,
fair.
stop, or I'm just going to mute you on
Because
my
you're
end.
not living up to the
I'm
agreement.
just going to mute you on my end. No, I'm living up to exactly the agreement. As I've just explained to you, truth
No, we
is
just read it to the
corresponds
audience. They
reality.
can see that you are not living up to the agreement.
Dumbass.
You are not being open-minded. You are not letting it be
Dumbass.
about why I believe.
Dumbass. What does truth mean? You fucking dumbass.
Okay,
What does the
I just
word
need to-
truth
there won't be
mean?
there won't be cussing on my channel.
Dumbass.
Okay?
What does the word truth mean?
Okay, Tom, I need you to know there won't be cussing like that on my channel. That's not what I do, okay? So this can continue or it can end, but there won't be cussing.
Dumbass is gone. Okay.
Okay, let's get back to reality and see. Should be about ceasefire time about now. So let's cut to it and see if I can find some audio. There we go.
From now, the ceasefire should be in place, and we'll be waiting a few minutes to see if it will hold.
Eric Blue, how can I join? Just
What about any stoppage time?
click the link at the top of the chat.
Yes, but only you could referee that between Israel and Gaza. I've got the little uniform, the whistle, and the flag. You just got to go running along the border and adjudicate.
So it's official. There is a ceasefire.
There is now a ceasefire. We have to wait and see for the next few minutes if it will
How
continue.
long will this one hold? 5 minutes?
Stop laughing.
I said 5 minutes last time, and I was.
Oh, brother.
It didn't
Well,
last
to be fair,
3 minutes.
I'm on a stage with someone who I've got to now dress like a referee and get running up and down the Gaza border, and I've now got to go and plant daisies to put around your neck. This is the general feeling I've got in this room now. So,
I want the confirmation that all their rocket factories have been destroyed. That's what I'm looking for. Then I can say, you know, okay, I believe in the ceasefire. But until all their rocket factories are destroyed, the ceasefire means nothing. At least not to me.
The IDF said that they had accomplished hitting all their targets. So the question then is, did all their targets include the factories? One hopes that they would have, but I'm not sure.
if the ceasefire holds, then there will be a statement by the IDF
it may not be straight away. We will get a statement to what has happened.
Does anybody believe that Egypt, okay, is a true friend of Israel? By, working on this ceasefire?
I don't think Israel needs a true friend. What Israel needs is somebody in a position to mediate a dispute. And one could have even somebody who's neutral, certainly as a mediator, and perhaps even one who has some bias against one of the parties still being an effective mediator. So we don't necessarily need a true friend.
Well, okay. All right. Obviously, by appeasing, by agreeing to the ceasefire, by appeasing, that's they see it as a weakness. They see it as a victory. Hello.
Why the hell are we listening to that? Let's see. Eric Blue, yeah, join by joining the Discord. Discord link is at the top. You joined the Discord yesterday, so it should be easy peasy. Randolph Richardson, hello sir, good to see you. Thank you for your support. You're a good man, Randolph. Oh, Randolph, I have a message for you. No, I have some news for you. I am able to now access the politics and religion Discord server. And I believe you had something to do with that. Thank you. In advance. So, on Sunday, oh shit, I missed it, right? That was yesterday. No, that's today. Or did I miss it already? Let me know. But anyway, we're following this war, at least what we think is a war, but now it's a ceasefire. See how long that lasts. It's tough. It's difficult. But let's follow along. Again, the Discord room is open for anyone to join and to have a chat about what we see. In the meantime, I'm just going to go back to Clubhouse.
So at the moment, it appears that the ceasefire is holding. So this has been now been in effect for the first few minutes. It is still holding. We have to just wait a few more minutes, and then in about, I'd estimate about 5 minutes, we will have full knowledge.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did try to go into politics, but from there, I'm still banned from politics. So that's just weird. You moved from the one I just got access to the one I'm still banned from. Oh, well, life is weird, isn't it? No, people are weird. Fuck, life is great. So where are these updates? Oh man, I predicted 5 minutes and it's already 6 minutes. Fuck. I was right last time. When it was.
The ceasefire will hold. It is being reported that across Gaza news, according to
a prayer for healing.
Fuck you, prayer for healing. Your whole rockets.
It's also been stated that there appears that Egypt will be releasing Palestinian prisoners back to Gaza, including one Shakem Bassam and a Khalil al-Awada, who will be returned to Gaza. Not stated the exact reason of this. But again, there are prayers for healing being put across Palestinian, particularly Gazan TV and outlets. This appears that the ceasefire will hold for the time being.
See how it's all controlled by...
Do you know anything about the 2 Palestinians who are being released by Egypt?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, man.
I am not at liberty to say.
Yeah, let me just switch that off, Randolph. Yes, they do both bring in large audiences. I guess I'll join you if you're bouncing between them. I'll join you when you're on PNR, and at least not join you, but be in the audience of PNR and not politics. Although politics it's kind of a weird place to have your atheism discussions, because politics and atheism really are streets and yards and miles apart. Even politics and religion isn't quite the right fit, but at least it's a better fit. It works. And I guess politics could just as well be called strong atheism, for that matter. Hey, why don't we open up? Why don't you open? Actually, you already have a Discord. I'm just rambling because I'm just waiting for some news to catch up. It looks like the ceasefire is going to hold. Please listen in.
Gaza has broken 3 separate ceasefire deadlines that have been put forward, and this conflict now continues.
What?
To make a decision on how it will act next. Please come in, Sammy.
Did they break the ceasefire already? Well, watch the Times of Israel
Sammy,
live
go ahead.
blogging and see as they unfold. Come on, Sammy, get going.
It has been confirmed that the ceasefire has been broken. It has now ended, and we will be
10 minutes
awaiting the response of the Israeli government.
10.
Just to say, I will carry on posting the news on Telegram, pinned at the top, after
10 minutes it held.
After this room is shut, I'll carry on posting the news with live updates.
He's going to close this room
on my Telegram page, pinned at the top. You can go and check that out. And I still have the list of charities you can support. It is unfortunate that the ceasefire has not worked. This is solely on Gaza. The other thing I would just like to add before we start to wrap up this room, because I do feel this may go on for a very long time, this sort of backwards and forwards, this drizzle, this tough sort of like drizzle of rockets and firing and whatever else will come. We will likely have to wait until tomorrow because of the late hour. It is important to say that even Gaza does not normally shoot rockets past the next 20 minutes. It's normally between the hours of 9 and 12. I want to thank everyone for coming and for being here. I'm going to wrap up this room because it has now been going on for over almost 16 hours. And I'll open another room tomorrow. I want to thank everyone for coming and for being here. And hopefully we'll see everyone again tomorrow.
Thank you, Fionn.
There you go. I think they're going to close the room. Well, yeah, the room is closed. And the Discord room, of course, is open. So, this is where we can hang out now without outside interference. Here are a couple of ideas for anyone who wants to come in and have it and challenge or accept my challenge. My challenge to you, if you are a Christian, if you're any kind of God believer of any type, bring the name of your God with you, but leave your Bible and your scriptures at the door so that you don't have to, be intimidated by them. And then my challenge to you is to prove us atheists wrong. The claim is all gods are imaginary. Prove us wrong. Now you might say, well, hey, you just made a claim that all gods are imaginary. Prove that they are all imaginary. Well, I think T-Jump did a wonderful job of proving that all gods are imaginary. All you got to do is prove one of them is, and then they all are. So yeah, that's where we're at. Come into the room, and we'll carry on, or I will bring this 3-hour segment to a close. All right, 5 minutes, okay?